Mhm. Mr. Ice, Mr. Ice,
What's going on?
what's going on? How's the how's the border looking? You
Bro,
been able to you been able to capture any?
nah, I've been up in the city spinning and benching. But bro, you sound YT, bro. Are you YT or you the African dude?
We've been through this. We've been through this, Ice.
Nah, but
I'm African. I'm African and Mexican. I'm your worst nightmare.
I mean, nah, you really not. If you was my worst nightmare, you would be a European immigrant or Asian immigrant.
Oh,
Yeah.
so there's levels to this shit, huh?
Yeah, very, very slightly. Very slightly. But yeah, it's fucking mild though still. You know what I'm saying?
So do you actually work for Homeland Security, or
Nah, I don't work for Homeland Security.
have you turned anybody in?
Well, I sent in a lot of tips. I'm talking about a lot of tips. You know, when I'm riding around my city, I take pictures. I take notes of where I'm at. I put it to Google out there. Sometimes I can't always get names. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I even make up names. But I'm reporting.
This
You
you know, I heard.
and
Uh huh.
sometimes allegedly they say the more heinous the crime that you report, the more serious. They'll take it, or they might commit a raid. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to sexual trafficking, smug, money laundering, those type of things.
So you might lie on them. That's what you're telling me.
No, 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 no. What I'm saying is that when I'm interpreting what I'm seeing, I may be a little bit more on the as I would say, the exaggeration side. You get what I'm saying?
Okay. So give me an example.
All right. So if I see a lot of kids coming in and out of a spot, you know what I'm saying, and it's not no and it's not no no legal thing. The kids coming out with what I would say what black and miles. You know, I'm gonna report it. I'm gonna report it for for smug trafficking. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause they trafficking smugs to the kids.
Oh, they be selling black and milds like outside the schools or something. Is that what you're
No,
saying?
at the corner stores,
So if you catch an immigrant buying a black and mild or selling it to a kid,
selling it like the
okay,
people who be owning the corner stores. They be
right, right, like the
yeah.
what is that called? Something tag. So like, what is it called? A shoulder tapping.
Yeah, or where they don't ID the kid.
Oh man, that's a tough one though. Like, say if you wanted some booze or black and mild, you really that's pretty low right there. I'm not gonna lie. But I
Nah,
mean, if
no,
if it's kids, if it's like, all right,
you
I
want to
don't
know
know how
why
to
it's
feel
so
about that
offensive,
one.
bro? Because
Hmm?
as a Middle Eastern, my guy, you're not even allowed to freaking partake in these substances back home. But you come over here to America selling to our kids, that shit disingenuous. Your ass gotta vote.
You got the Arabs already selling it legally.
No, hell no,
Legally
they not
on
gonna.
in black American neighborhoods. Yes, you do. Yes.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Black
I'm
Americans
reporting
complain about
them.
it all the time.
I'm
You
reporting
talk
them.
you talk about the owners. The owners.
Yeah,
Oh,
You
okay,
got to
okay.
report the
I thought
store. Yeah,
okay,
you
okay.
report the store and the business. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, you can't always report an individual unless you know him. You got to report the business for this offense. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going at the individual. I'm reporting the business. You know what I'm saying? Like they
I
got all
got
them
you.
vapes and that Delta 8 and they got them illegal, gambling machines, slot machines. Oh yeah, I'm snitching. Fuck them. They gotta go.
So when did you start this? Did you start this with this current administration, or how you been?
Yeah. Nah, this started with Trump. Yeah, this started with Trump.
Mm-hmm.
I probably started, really probably in May, but I really been ramping it up since I hopped on TikTok in like June. So yeah, shit done got ugly because man, I didn't know y'all folks can be this disrespectful. That shit crazy.
So what you hear on TikTok gives you motivation to go out there and do it.
No. What I hear on TikTok inspires me to have conversation with Africans that I work with in real life and immigrants and see how they feel. You know what I'm saying? It allows me to give a more accurate temperature check. You get what I'm saying? But yeah, for sure. So, cause now I'm asking them, do they know what FBA means? Now if I'm at work, depending on what's going on, you can't trust nobody. But we ain't gonna spill no sauce. You know what I'm saying? Leave a motherfucker lost. But if somebody off in that motherfucker, they African or something like that, I'm asking them how they feel about ICE. You know what I'm saying? I'm asking them how they feel about Trump. And depending on how they say shit, depending on how I'm moving. But I fuck around and call ICE on them if I feel like they illegal. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Well, yeah, that's why they're mad at me because they can't deport my ass, and I say fuck Trump and fuck ICE all day, every day.
Yeah. Hey, how do you feel about America? How would you feel about if America failed?
If America failed,
Yeah.
I would think it's already failing, at least with this current administration. ICE.
Would you hope it fall? Like, would you be like, fuck it and go back to your home country?
I mean, this is my home. I was born here,
No.
So, but I can go back and come back. I could go, take
No,
a
I'm talking about your
vacation.
African home country. I'm not talking about your foster
No,
home.
I hear you. Yeah, I can go there and come back, as I wish, as I please.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. I was trying to get you to say some. I don't care about what you talking about. I was trying to get you to say some dumb shit. I want you to get denaturalized, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
I'm smart. I'm smarter than that.
Yo,
You're gonna have to try harder than
get
that.
denaturalized. I ain't gonna lie.
Gonna have to.
That's why I'm ready for that 14th Amendment, man.
There's two different paths to citizenship, though. Ice, you get that right? Because I hear a lot of FBAs talking about we gonna get deported after they get rid of naturalization, and they don't know the difference between naturalization and being born here. Like birthright. You feel me? I feel like there's a lot of uneducated FBAs out there, but yeah, we gotta get those facts straight. Did you hear about? I think the government now is gonna give Americans affordable housing if they end up snitching on people for ICE. Did you hear that one?
Oh shit, I didn't know that. I'm gonna look that up, man. Shit,
Yeah, get you a house.
I'm probably gonna try to start me a real estate company with that, even though I already got a house. You know what I'm saying? Hey, yeah, man, but but that slick shit, man. It's uneducated people everywhere. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you got African presidents, you know what I'm saying, who working with Europe, fucking over their local population. You know what I'm saying? Then you got people still voting for them. You know what I mean? So then you got African nations who allow in the Middle East to start proxy WARs in their country. You know what I'm saying? So it's stupid people everywhere. So don't just point out the stupid FBAs. Stupid people everywhere within every country, every ethnicity.
Yeah, I don't like to generalize either. I'm just saying the ones that I've come in contact with because they'd love to say I'm gonna get deported, right? So I just bring that to your attention. I'll be right back.
But I pay property taxes, bro. So you know what I'm saying. I don't know nothing about no rent.
You pay to Uncle Sam. You pay to Uncle Sam. I hear you.
No, that mean I own my property.
I got you. Nagual and Mike meet ICE. ICE is an ICE agent. You guys, I'll be right back. I have to go answer this door real quick.
Word for it.
Go ahead and respond to what Isis said.
No, I'm with you. I said anybody that's other than YT and that's not, they just need to get out of this country, bro. You know what I'm saying? Everyone just needs to go back to their back to Africa or back to Mexico or some shit like that.
Oh shit! It sounds like we on code, brother. They all need to take their head back home.
Yeah, man, straight up, man. I mean, none of these people deserve to be here. It's not like this place is like a melting pot or multiple ethnicities or anything like that.
I agree.
Bunch of savages.
Well, it would be different if they asked the
We should
right
actually
people
probably start having
come
public
here.
hangings and stuff.
Damn.
Yeah. Don't you think? I think we should have just like public hangings. Wouldn't that be better, bro?
Nah, I'm not gonna lie. I can't advocate for that, brother. I don't know about that. That's
Come on,
wild.
man. Why not, bro? What's the difference? They're just
Hell nah, 'cause they
parasites,
did.
anyways.
Hell no, 'cause they did Black Americans like that back in the day. We don't need to go
What are you
back to
talking about,
strange
man?
fruits.
Black Americans are American. These people are savages. You know what I'm saying? We should probably have like sundown laws. Just start hunting them after dark.
Hey, I do not trust the YTs like that, bro. You get on that type of power, that shit over with, my nigga. That shit gonna turn to Hunger Games.
What are you talking about, man? I mean, I say bring the sundown laws back, but just for Mexicans.
Are you a Marine or something, bro?
Hell yeah! Look at my face, man. That's the guy. I'm a United States Marine, bro.
Yeah, see, you trying to get a nigga set up, bro. Just because you got all the skills for that type shit, don't mean everybody else do, bro. You wild.
But I'm good at it, bro. I'm good at it.
I know you good, my nigga, but I wouldn't be good. Fuck what you talking about? I don't know how to secure
bro.
no house.
I don't know how to secure no
house. I don't know how to, you know what I'm saying? Like survive with no water, power go out. You probably know all this shit, my nigga.
Bro, I can make BOMBs out of soap. Literally. I'm a United States Marine MOS 1371 combat engineer, demolitions and explosives expert. That was my job in the Marine Corps. I could literally blow things up with soap. That was a funny little day when I learned how to do that. So I figured we'd start taking this soap and we start planting it under Mexicans' houses, That way we get a double deal,
Man, that sounds good, man.
Irish Spring.
There you go, man. Right there, Mike P. Lucky Charms, bro.
Yeah. Irish
I
Spring,
feel like if that type of stuff was that easy, people would be pulling that off as we speak with drones. You know what I'm saying? Like they have started doing in Mexico. They have started commencing some of their attacks with BOMBs attached to drones like they have in Ukraine and Russia outside of war zones.
Yeah. Well, during the whole pandemic thing, they were sneaking Ukrainians in through the back door in Mexico. So they actually had lines of Mexicans standing at the border who couldn't get in. And they were I have news reports of this, where they were saying that, look at these YT Ukrainians just walking right in, no problems. No one's even making mention of it, But we got to get rid of these Mexicans, Those are the real problems, They're the ones sucking off, taking all our jobs and shit, taking the black jobs. As like Trump said, they're taking the black jobs, bro. That's the problem. So I think it would be, we just bring Jim Crow back, but we call it like Jesus Crow. You know what I'm saying? That way it's a little more fair, So James is a little outdated, so we just bring in Jesus, and then we make it the Crow, and then we're all right, Enter some legislation, start doing like gallows publicly at the Capitol. We can do them on Saturdays right before UFC events. Are you with me here, fam?
You gotta be trolling, bro. You gotta be trolling, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. You gotta be trolling.
We'll have to leave the ones in California alone because they're the ones that's picking our fruit, right? Picking our vegetables. That when I heard that one,
no, they got AI really for that.
Took me out.
They got AI for that.
Yeah,
man.
that's what. Yeah, they do, and that's what. And I was like, if I was a Mexican man, I would be really sick about them slandering me like that. Like, you mean to tell me the only thing y'all think I do over here is pick fruit and vegetables? That's crazy.
That's what we do, bro. That's what we're good at, bro. Picking strawberries, cutting cane,
Yeah, not getting bit by snakes and shit,
Where did homie go, bro? He just peeled out, bro. I thought it was bad.
He dipped.
I was all snuggled up next to him, which is why I picked that specific spot. Get real close to him. and see how he measures up against my YT Supreme.
He couldn't take it, Naquan. He couldn't take it.
I can't wait to record this, bro. Like, get the recording and then post it, man. It's gonna be so funny.
Oh.
Oh my god, bro. He took me serious too. Did you see that?
Naquan, are you on YouTube too?
Yeah, no, I'm on
Yeah, I
BitChute.
saw that. I saw that. You on BitChute? Okay.
Yeah, I have a channel.
Naquan, you should really
Go ahead.
slice up your lives, Naquan, and put them on YouTube. And I'm gonna tell you why, because a lot of times, just like people make what do they call that? Those things when they make stitches here.
Yeah.
Sometimes they go to YouTube and they use references like that. And for your thorough research and like ties and all that, man, that would just be gold. People would love to hit your page for nothing else but you to bring up specific articles, especially the DNA articles and stuff like that you've been covering that debunk all of that stuff. That would be gold, because that's right now. That's their number one go-to. Oh, you're not Native American. Why? Because you haven't taken a DNA test. Well, here's what we need to say them to know about the DNA. First of all, it's pseudoscience, because nobody knows of the parties that's being collected. They ain't got no names. They ain't got no faces. It's all arbitrarily decided upon by one group of people. And so how can you verify that anybody is Native American? And the first thing I asked them is, hey, man, well, if you're a Native American, you say we should take a DNA test, well, where yours at? And they never have one to pull up. Yeah, they never do. Yeah.
Someone tried to come
What
up.
time did you guys cut out last night, man? Because I fell asleep on you guys like at like 3 a.m.
Oh, no shit. We went late, bro, but you were in there for a long time, fam. You were there from the beginning almost to the end, bro. I could barely make it to the end.
Man, and now I wouldn't go. I said, well, even if I was going to fall asleep, I was going to leave the page up and let it run, because I don't know how it hits the algorithm if there's people in the room.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. I want you to get on that, Gual. Get your channel up and everything. We only got 4 people out here now. I shared it live. Let me see if I can share it again.
Yeah, you know what? But I tell you this, Mike P. I'm gonna take your advice, bro. I'm gonna start posting a lot of my material from my TikTok onto my YouTube and my BitChute. I haven't done. I received such little attention on my BitChute channel that I just kind of gave up on it. I think I mentioned last night I got a little depressed after I wasn't, after doing 18 years work and not having an audience. There's something that people don't recognize that happened with me, is that when you do this type of research, you take on there's a stress that's being loaded that I wasn't even aware of, finding out what they've been doing to folks for all these years and not having anywhere to express it. It then begins to build up internally, so I'm like living with all this stress that I know about that I haven't, I'm like a medium. So if things have to pass through me, and if they don't pass through me, then they're stuck within me. And then I get stuck with all that stress, and the knowing what's being done and not being able to do something about it really creates depression. And I just wasn't aware of that. And then finally, when I came to this platform, I'm like, I meet people like yourself, man, that are just stoked about my work. And it's like, you guys literally keep me going every day, fam. I mean, like, the first time you reached out, and DM'd, I was like, oh shit, homie's like down with my shit, like, boom. It just made me that next day just get up and just be like, I'm on this shit now. So I tell you right now, I'm taking your advice and I'm going to put this shit up on YouTube, no doubt.
Yep. Because you know what that means also, Nagual, is if they try to flag your channel and take you down, you'll always be anchored in YouTube, and people will be able to find you there. Whereas you might have to start all over again with TikTok, because the rules over here on TikTok are a lot more stringent. And let me say something else, Nagual. I got a buddy of mine that I used to work with some years ago. His name was Dwight Hill, and he told me, because Dwight got like 10 years on, right? When did Roots come out? Roots came out in 75 or 76. I think it came out in 70. Yeah, one of those two. Well, anyway, my uncles was like in around Dwight's age, so they was like maybe in their teens or whatnot when I was born. So when Roots came out, just like you said, when you go through this information and it hits you a certain way, when those guys that was like 13, 14, 15 years old saw Roots on public TV back in 75, 76, they went to school the next day whipping everybody white's ass.
Yep.
Now, this had never happened before.
Fact.
This had never happened before because they didn't know that nobody knew that they was from Africa. They did know that they had tension between black and white people. They just didn't know why. But when they put a story behind why there was this kind of abuse and whatnot, and to find out they were led to believe that their abuse was way more egregious than what it really was. They went to school the next day, didn't even ask no names. It was fights all over the school. This was happening in Chicago. This was happening in Detroit. This was happening in New Jersey. This was happening in New York, especially New York. After Roots aired, it caused a national problem. People had to go to school to go get their kids because they was getting their asses beat. And this is exactly what this kind of information will do to you if you don't have any grounding. And I'm happy that you're a shaman and you can kind of like ground yourself, man, instead of going through all of this stuff. And it almost looks like there's no way out. But as you can see, you have people who appreciate your work, and it's actually helping to turn things around because now people have some esteem about themselves, and they also have they also have the curiosity now to do better by themselves by researching their ancestry and things like that. So we have you to thank for that, as well as other scholars who have resisted the system of keeping you at work and too tired when you get off to work to care about anything else other than paying your bills. Because that's what the system is designed to do. The system is designed to keep you at work for 8 hours or better. So by the time you get home, the only thing you're looking for is something to eat, maybe your girlfriend or your wife or husband or whatnot. Make sure the kids is tight, pay the bills, and go to bed. There's nothing else in between, which means the cycle just repeats the next day and nothing changes. So I'm happy that you're contributing to interrupting that with this research, because guys like me, I might not have the time to do that after I go to work. You know what I'm saying? Or I might not have the attention span to do it. Like one thing about me reading, boy, I read for maybe a half hour and I get distracted really easy. So it's kind of hard for me to get through books without some discipline, but I'm getting to it. I'm getting better with that. But it because of that paradigm with myself and the lack of discipline there, it's good that I can hit TikTok and find Nagual, find Ty. I can find Samuel, even Top Cats in them. Those guys are really good, man. And they help me because now they can narrow my search as opposed to going through a voluminous stack of books to find what I'm looking for. I can get hints from them to go look here, go to the Library of Congress, look this up, or go to the War Department and look that up. And et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, man, I really appreciate you if nobody else will tell you.
Bro, I'm telling you, man, your feedback is exactly what I need to hear, man. Because like that's my specific intent, is to just hopefully inspire somebody to take some piece of literature that I've presented and then go elaborate, and go tell their friends about it. It got weird after. I haven't watched movies, fam, since in like 20-something years, 25 years. I haven't watched. And
you sound like me.
I was the same as you. Like I couldn't read a book, bro. If I read pick up a fiction book or something like that, I'll fall asleep in like 10-15 minutes. But something happened with this, research, and it hit me a different way. I was like, when I was in the beginning of my practice, it was literally 10 hours a day. I just stuck on a computer screen, just on my phone, writing at the same time, just crazy shit. And now it's like I can't even go to sleep if a subject strikes my interest. I'll be up for 2 days, literally going off on that one subject, and then I'll be like, oh man, it's been like literally 2 days. I got to get some sleep here. I might have been playing in the snow a little, at that time, but that's just, it's a plant. It's a plant, so therefore I use it to elongate the research time. But that's the fact, man.
It helps. It helps. Yeah. It does help.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, that plant is.
I tell people all the time, I'm like, it's a plant.
Yeah.
Don't demonize it.
Exactly.
Back?
Hey JT, what do you mean? What's the FBA hate about? There's no FBA hate. There's no FBA hate. But let me say this about FBA. All right. So FBA stands for Foundational Black Americans, right? Now, what I would say about FBA is I think that is an accurate description of a people. It is not a name of the people. It is a description. Just like you can call me a 6 foot, 180 pound black man. And does that speak for all black people? No. This is just a description for me. There's no FBA hatred. Now, here's what else I'll say about FBA. I don't think people. I think people esteem FBA because they haven't had an identity in so long, and since being an African American just doesn't strike a chord with anybody, FBA sounds a lot more African. It's independent from a foreign place. So for that, I can see why it appeals to most people. But then let's ask ourselves, where do FBA come from? You know where FBA come from, right? Tariq Nasheed. Did Tariq Nasheed tell you how he got that? No, he didn't tell you how he got that, but I will tell you how he got it. So I was sitting on Michi X Live, and it was supposed to be a joint venture between Tariq Nasheed and Michi X. For some strange reason, Tariq got flaky, and him and Michi X fell out. She talked about this. And what happened was he wanted to take FBA and run. FBA was supposed to be commercialized anyway. It was supposed to be used to sell T-shirts, hoodies, cups, all kind of stuff, right? It wasn't necessarily supposed to be strictly Pan-African. It was supposed to be something that was just branding stuff, right? But anyway, they fell out and they wound up in court about it. And so what happened was, in order to get Michi out of it, he had to buy her out. And this is why when you hear about people talk about that FBA has been trademarked, that's what that comes from. It absolutely has nothing to do with a grassroots movement, because I can guarantee you, the minute you start selling keychains, the minute you start selling T-shirts, or if you get large enough doing that, guess what he gonna do? He gonna start knocking on your door and asking where the money is at, because it's not an open source thing. It belongs to him. If it wasn't important, he wouldn't have trademarked it. And he has the right to police anybody to stop using it anytime he wants to. You guys didn't know that, did you? If you actually go to his page, he tells you everything that FBA is about. And who it applies to is not necessarily foundational Black Americans. He's talking about allegedly the Africans that was brought over here by one of the conquistadors in 1526. It used to be 1619, but they changed that. And I'll tell you who made them change that. Top Cats did. Top Cats made him change that because it was inaccurate, and they started pulling on him about that. But anyway, these people who were allegedly brought here was from somewhere else. These weren't originally American people. So when you say foundational Africans, well, where do they come from? If the Portuguese or the Spanish brought them to America. They didn't say they brought them from one part of America to America. You can read that in the FBA history on the website. I already didn't screenshot it and put it in quite a few people's posts about FBAs and whatnot. If you guys just spend a little bit more time understanding what FBA is, who it comes from, and who it benefits, I think you might change your mind about it. And I'm gonna tell you something else too, man. What if you found out that you was a Creek or Muskogee or Chickasaw or Iroquois, any of that? Would you rather be FBA, or would you rather be a part of a nationality that actually has treaties with the United States that you can enforce? You can't enforce anything being the FBA. You don't have any standing in law being
Fact.
the FBA.
Fact, bro. I mean, there's no legal standing. There's no legislation. There's no treaty law. There's no lineage, actual lineage, like that. You can go back and look at some piece of paper that says, oh, hey, there's an identity that has been assigned to me that I can link back to some type of legislation that would provide me some type of remedy or restitution, or even some reparations, if that's what you choose. I would more likely go for the restitution myself because it's more substantial. But either way, I don't recall any type of treaty with FBA on it.
And yeah, I've never seen one. And again, that's why I'm trying to get Mr. Who Are You to understand this, is that no, if you actually go to Tariq Nasheed's website, I'm not saying that they're not selling anything or are selling anything, but if you go to his website, he is selling FBA flags and merchandise. All right, so he is selling that. But what I was saying about FBA before Tariq Nasheed solely owns this trademark, its intentions was to sell merchandise with him when it was supposed to be a
Yep.
partnership with him and Michi X. Why don't you ask Tariq Nasheed about that? I mean, we don't. Well, you don't have to argue with me about that. FBA is. I'll put it to you like this: if nothing else, FBA doesn't belong to you, just like African American doesn't.
Fact.
It doesn't belong to you. Yeah.
Indigenous practices, we didn't believe in ownership of identity or culture or anything like that, which should be the practice if anybody genuinely concerned about a culture. But the funny thing is, most people aren't even aware of the fact that neither of those cats were the guys who invented FBA. It was literally Claude Anderson back in like 2009, 2010. He was the first one to use that term, and then it kind of got lost in the
Oh,
sauce.
so
Yeah,
Tariq just co-opted that. Okay, I see
correct.
what you're saying.
Yeah.
That's new. I didn't know.
I didn't know it either until about a month or two ago, and someone showed the testimony of Claude Anderson. I was like, whoa, he said it first. I had no, and I followed Claude Anderson for quite some time back in the days. I mean, he's an amazing scholar, and he's not necessarily my exact cup of tea, but if there was anybody I would listen to regarding financial stability and direction, it would be Claude Anderson. I definitely wouldn't follow Tariq Nasheed.
Absolutely. No, well, and here's something else I would have these FBA people look up. This is just go to Wikipedia, look at his track record. Well, Tariq Nasheed began as a hip hop artist.
Yep.
All right, he hasn't began as a scholar. He began as a hip hop artist, and then he started getting into film and entertainment. He's even wrote books about being a pickup artist and how to pimp people and stuff like that. So, I mean, this is your delineating leader here. You get what I'm saying? This is the guy who's spearheading this false grassroots delineation effort. So you guys got. I wouldn't say. So, I can't necessarily. I can't call him a fraud.
Of course.
I
Yeah.
can say. I can say that his track record doesn't lead me to believe that he is sincere about his dealings. I can say that. No, I'm not a jealous fan of Why Are You? Yeah, I'm not jealous of him. I mean, Tariq doesn't have anything that I don't want. Then I'm gonna give you. I'll tell you what. This is the good things I'll say about Tariq Nasheed. For you to be here to defend him right now, without me trying to actually say anything bad about him, I'll say that he has a lot of charisma because he has a lot of people who are indifferent about him, his information, and his professional background. And here you are defending him, and you don't know anything about this man.
Bro, I was going to say the exact same word.
I will get.
I was going to say charisma because I've been following Tariq since a little before Hidden Colors, and I admired his work. I wasn't familiar with his previous work until way later after the fact. When I actually kind of lost interest in him, and then some of that stuff came up. That his publishing to Big Pimpin'. But I admired him for his work. He seemed to be a very knowledgeable cat. But when I saw him recently, I hadn't really caught up with him until recently when I caught his first live, and I actually recorded a clip. I posted it on my page, and I was stupefied how charismatic and charming he was. I mean, it was not only that, his sense of humor was above and beyond the norm. Not only that, even his almost aristocratic approach. He was very cordial, very polite, very proper. He didn't use any cuss words. He was just, but he had cunning wit, and he had the ability to reflect somebody's temperament and demeanor so quickly and so cutting in an instant. I had to admire him. I literally put him up on my page, and I was like, man, he had drawn me back in. Because I always saw him on the documentaries of some sort, so it was always in a professional manner. But seeing him personally interact with people, I was drawn back into him. I was like, wow, the homie's got that style, and I had to at least give it homage,
Absolutely. Tariq he does have a presence and a lot of control. He doesn't get flustered, even if he's under the gun with somebody bringing him receipts. He that I don't see too many people. I would almost say that it's Oprah level where he wouldn't get shaken. So I'll say that much about Tariq Nasheed. He's not easily shaken, even though I don't believe most of what he says. I don't think. I also want to tell these people, like, look, Tariq is not really a scholar. What he is, he's well spoken enough to keep himself out of trouble when he's asking hard questions. His deflection skills is immaculate, because he will have you upset and ready to argue on a different point before you get to the meat and potatoes about proving your own, especially when it means proving him wrong.
Goddamn.
You get what I'm saying? So yeah, so hats off to Tariq Nasheed when it comes to his charisma and whatnot. And I can't take nothing away from the brother. He's got money and he's doing well for himself, and he's actually moved from Twitter to TikTok, and he has developed quite the following. So I'm not saying anything bad about Tariq Nasheed, except other than maybe you guys ought to look at the person that you're looking up to, because really it's not Tariq Nasheed that has the problem. It's the people who look up to him. Do you know who you are? He said FBA is lineage based, right? So
Yep.
Which one of you FBA people out there have your lineage ready? Do you know where you come from? Has Tariq Nasheed show you the metrics of what's a lineage based lookup? Has he exposed his to you? No, he has not. No, he hasn't, because if he did, it's a good chance that you probably wouldn't have respect for him, because either he might show himself to be somebody foreign or actually not what he's supposed to be himself. You know what I'm saying? So he's not going to show you that. He's not going to get into showing that. He's going to tell you what you need to be doing. And what you're going to do is just going to listen to him and not even do what he tell you. Just like the rest of you guys. Yeah.
Yeah, when I was on his live, I was.
He's not.
When I was on his live,
Go ahead.
I was extremely impressed about his demeanor, the way he carried himself, how quick he was, and everything. But not only that, I was very uninformed about what FBA was, and I thought, who better to go to than the FBA man himself, And he was very informative about the movement. But the weird thing is he was very informative, but he wasn't precise in his identifying the exact movement, or he wasn't given any timestamps of when delineation was going to take place, how long it was going to take place, and he wasn't really solidifying. It was though he was the leader of a movement without actually being responsible for the movement itself, even though he's the one who's known as the godfather of FBA. I thought he wanted all the credit for beginning the movement, but he didn't want the responsibility of creating the movement itself. He would just rather just kind of lay back in the cut, let it kind of take over itself, and then whenever it needed that star power, he would be willing to step up into the limelight and then pull back whenever it came under any type of stress.
Absolutely. And to me, I think that's kind of dangerous, because now you have a leader that's not willing to take responsibility for you. Don't that sound familiar? Don't that sound like your average politician?
Yes, sir.
They want your votes and they want your tax dollars, but they're not willing to take responsibility for you if something out of their organization or affiliated with it hurts you. That means the police can do whatever they want to you, and then it's just like, hey, well, you know what, you need to get a lawyer. Oh, it's on that.
Well, that was another thing that Lady J brought up. She's like, if somebody lets you promote such a what would normally be seen as somewhat of a threat to YT supremacy, that if they're letting it go through with no pushback whatsoever, there's something wrong with that movement. Because Fred Hampton, he took one. He put that price on his back and paid the ultimate price. I mean, he was unalived as a result of stepping into that. He didn't even want the limelight. He just did what he was supposed to do, and they put him in that limelight and took him as a result. That wouldn't happen with this movement, because it's not that much of a threat. It's more doing the favor for the YTs. They don't have to do that bidding for them. There's all kinds of infighting with so-called black folks across the spectrum, and it's just doing damage. There's no unification.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so while I understand the frustration of so-called Black America and the call to delineate from people who aren't from America or whatnot. I understand that because uh, for a long time, a lot of people who I would say is ethnic have been coming here and been getting benefits from a system that uh, well from a system that pretty much seems to be to us. You know what I'm saying? So it to me it seems like the incentive for people who are immigrants to come in here and to side with the elite or the United States system, you know, in oppressing us, it almost makes sense to just say, well, wait a minute, you know, I don't think we're quite as the friends that you know you guys make yourselves out to be. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of your talking points are like the people who have an issue with us, who have stolen from us, and you're reaping the benefits from the people who are telling you that it's okay to come here and stealing from us. You know what I'm saying? So that I get, but my thing is what it's creating for us within ourselves is a lot of infighting. When just before uh, Tariq Nasheed came with the FBA stuff, there was some momentum about people actually looking back into their lineage and finding out who they were. Now I had to give this credit to Dan Calloway. Dan Calloway got a lot of people looking into their ancestry. Even I'll say Opium too. Opium got a lot of people looking back into their ancestry and claiming who they actually were. And then all of a sudden, here comes Tariq Nasheed. And you know, it's awfully funny when I was listening to Dan Calloway and he said that Tariq Nasheed was going to come back. They didn't necessarily have a direct debate or anything like that, but Dane had made 2 YouTube posts that pretty much dismantled Tariq Nasheed. I wish I could find it, but boy, he pulled him apart. And
No, I think I
Tariq
remember
went
them.
dark for like a year and a half. You did hear it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tariq went dark for like a year and a half, and then all of a sudden he came back out with the being frustrated because of the Africans and whatnot, or any other foreigners like Hispanics and things like that. And then out came but what this did was this disturbed people actually finding out that they actually have property here. They actually had a lineage here that was organic and indigenous to the United States, which creates a lot of political leverage here because this means that you just can't take people's land, do what you want with them, and push them around or marginalize them anymore because now they realize who they are. And this FBA thing has made an interruption where now it seems to me that people have gotten comfortable with this title of sorts to say, yeah, so we're all on code now. Now that we all know that we're FBA, we're going to do what it takes for our own well-being. But it stops there. There's no motion behind that. And I really think that if people actually got into if they listen to Tariq Nasheed and they say, well, this lineage based, look up your lineage. Look at what's attached to your lineage, right?
Yeah.
And then when you find out what that is, you'll find out just how valuable you are because FBA by itself is not valuable.
Fact.
And that's not the disrespect.
No, of course not.
FBA. I'm just saying that title alone doesn't do you any good. Yeah.
I think you're comprehending it in a way that, in the fashion that it should be comprehended, and I totally get. I've heard enough at this point to understand that, and empathize with Black Americans to understand that there are these people that are coming in and feeding off their plate. But my whole thing is there's a reason that those people are being brought in, and although the delineation should be made at some point, I think that both parties should be looking at the common denominator, which is the white tea that's bringing those people in to cause that infighting. It's the same thing with Native Americans right now and Mexicans, or whatever you want to call them. It's just like the infighting is across the spectrum at the moment. The delineation is going hog wild, and nobody's stopping to look at, hey, who's the one doing it? Where should we direct our attention at? No one's done that yet. We're too busy focused on each other. I mean, even me, I engage with these little petty back and forth little, disputes on my page because that's what people buy into. If it was up to me, it would be nothing but me showing literature exempt of all the adversarial, back and forth. That to me is so childish, but it's what sells at the moment because it's hot, and that's what's going on right now. And I hate to buy into the game, but that's what's going on. We're just gonna have to go through it at this point. I've always said this, like I'll use this analogy. In order to create a pot, you have to go. People don't understand the process of creation. Uh, It's actually destruction comes first. So in order to create the pot, you have to go out to an ecosystem and destroy that ecosystem to harvest the clay to bring back home to put on the wheel to throw the pot. And that is the process of creation. I think that we're going through that process right now. The system's kind of being torn down, or we're gaining identity, and the old one's being torn down as well. And there's going to have to be that destruction before we move into another direction.
Absolutely, absolutely. I want people to understand that we don't necessarily have to fight, but something, Niguel, the system that we're currently under, if so, this is what I explained to somebody else. Like, let's say people from the Caribbean, right? If they were brought over here by the United States, and they say, "Hey, listen, man, take care of you. Just these people over here, never mind them. We'll take care of you, but you just mind your own business when it comes to those people over there. We'll give you a stipend, we'll give you better credit and things like that." And same with the people from Middle East or in Africa. Like, yeah, hey, you come over here, we'll take care of you. It's just mind your business when it comes to these people over here. Don't worry about them or any humanitarian effort or anything like that. These people are generally criminals. They have been criminals for a long time here, and we're trying to be nice to them. They just won't listen to us when it's really a matter of them trying to commit more theft and more erasure and other criminal acts and get away with it while they're bringing these people in here and giving them propaganda about who we really are. I'm like, well, and I would tell these people from these different countries, like, well, you're here because you understand what a criminal is and you wanted to escape it. So whereas you run from your situation, we're kind of like dealing with it. Now, I'm not saying that you should empathize with us or whatnot, but why not and let us have business with them instead of siding with the enemy? Because here it is, you may not share the same neighborhood as us, but you'll capitulate their argument. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they don't really have any moral standing to have any arguments with us. You get what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
there's no reason for like when the last election happened, I seen a lot of Cubans standing with Trump and whatnot. To me, I didn't see it was one way or another in the sense of where Cuban people were good or bad people, but it was kind of telling, like, well, wait a minute, if you voted for Trump and you think Trump is for, had a perception that Trump was against us, it's kind of telling that you guys are really not on our side at all. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now when the Uno reverse hit, you guys want sympathy. Oh yeah. Yeah, you was right the whole time. Trump and these white people. Oh, well, wait a minute. We won't want to. Listen. Our so-called African Americans have been trying to tell people from the Caribbean about the United States system since the '60s, when the Cubans got here in New York. They was trying to tell them, hey man, you kind of got to be careful about these people here because they'll do things to you. And this ain't something that they're unfamiliar with. They've faced colonization too with Black Mento. They've been experimenting on and things like that. When they got here, it's like, well, it's the same thing here. So don't think because you fled one country and there's, grocery stores with coolers and shit like that, and unlike in Cuba, you guys, hide y'all shit in the shade, it's going to be different. And,
Fact.
no. Yeah. So they got over here, they got comfortable because people gave them a little bit, the government gave them a little bit of leeway, but now they see from 6 years ago that we weren't lying the whole time, man, that you are expendable. The only reason why you're here is to offset the Democratic vote, them doing what they do because they want to get the original people up out of here, and they can't figure out how to do it because they can't keep building prisons to cram people in there because eventually that's going to cause a problem, and they can't kill everybody else because eventually that's going to cause a problem. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And in a minute, I think what's going to wind up happening is the United States is going to face some serious global political problems because of what they're doing to everybody. And I'm not sure if that's something we want because we'll wind up being in it too. But
Yeah, we're gonna be dealing with it.
I'd like for yeah, we'll be here dealing with it too. But if I'm not mistaken, China told the United States, "Hey, man, y'all got a timeline to get things together, man. Or we might have to have a more serious discussion." And I think that's why we're seeing all these changes with these immigration things, with this ICE stuff and whatnot. Because I think the country is supposed to be given back to the original people. I hope that's the case. These are just rumors that I heard. I can't really confirm anything that wild, to be honest with you. Yeah, but that's
I've
me,
heard the
man. I'm a
rumors myself.
land. I've been running my mouth long enough.
No, I love it, man. I've heard the rumors myself, and as much of course, I was hold a. To me, hope is just another word for fear. Um, for me to hope is to leave it up to chance rather than do my work and rely on my mission. Because if I'm hoping for something, it means that I have enough time to hope rather than be doing work to get to what I'm hoping for. So I put my head down, I do my work, and I hope that the land might be returned back to somebody. I mean, but my instincts tells me that ain't never going to happen. Not in my lifetime. I mean, like, if nothing's been done at this point, and they're actually, I guess the Lumbee tribe, actually, they recently got nationally recognized. I think it was yesterday or something like that was, and there's been some
Really?
land given back, but this has all been to Native Americans. No one on the darker end of the hue spectrum.
Right.
Right.
I was just telling Vibes about that earlier. And I don't know if you looked at the lady, she was saying, "Oh, we finally have a place at the table."
I didn't see that.
Yeah, I'll send it to you. And I found that interesting. I was telling Vibes, I said, because first of all, the whole concept of being recognized and her verbatim having a place at the table, you're basically saying you need a rubber stamp from a YT person to validate your own existence.
Yeah.
That whole construct is already problematic in of itself. But yet you had grown men crying that they were finally recognized by the YT government. So I have a big problem with that, and that's my same issue with FBA. The issue I have with FBA is because it's predicated on the same colonial racial construct that was given to people from the top down.
Yep.
That the idea of being black, of being a Negro, was given to you, assigned to you. Do you understand that? So if you're going to predicate an identity, I don't care what you want to call it, within the same framework, you will never win because it was created to your detriment, not your benefit. Now, had in the 1960s and 70s, there had been this movement among so-called Negroes as a collective to say, okay, well, we don't want to be a part of this racial paradigm. Hey, let's try to identify with an ethnicity from Africa or wherever. And they chose a group, and we're going to teach our children the language of that group and their customs, and that's just what we're going to be. That would be an actual grassroots movement from the bottom up to break from the racial paradigm. Right. But I don't see that in any of these concepts. Exactly. What I see is them manufacturing the same thing again. A people group that comes to mind that did do that was, I don't know if you've ever heard of the Guarifuna people.
Yes.
Right. So they're phenotypically, looks like West African, but they speak a language called Garifuna, which is actually the language that was apparently in the Americas. So they don't speak, they speak Spanish as well in the countries they live in, Honduras and things of that nature, but that's their primary language of their ethnicity is Garifuna. So, if Black Americans, so-called Negroes as a collective would have done something like that, then that to me would have been an authentic, genuine attempt to break away from the racialist paradigm and take back your own identity, take back power of yourself. But instead, they don't want to do that. They seem to be doing exactly what these Lumbee people were trying to do, which is you want to get a seat at the table with the YT man. Yeah. You want acknowledgement. You want validation from the YT man. Because that was beaten into your ancestors that in order to be successful in this system, you got to get the YT man's approval to do that. You got to work with the YT man to get that, and he's going to give you whatever he's going to give you. So that's my very issue with the whole concept.
Yeah, there was a woman on this fucking Siberian Husky bitch on a live earlier, and she was like demeaning so-called Black folks with the fact that they're not us. I was like, that to me, it's just so anti-indigenous, to make delineation between yourself and any other oppressed person or population. To me, that's just
Right.
it's so.
But Nagual, they have to say that because if they acknowledge anything to do with so-called Negroes, the white man will strip them of their place at the table. Do you understand that? That's why.
I said it on her live. I actually said,
Yeah.
I said, so you're telling me that you need documentation from the YT to substantiate your identity? That's exactly the reason I won't become a part of any of you people.
Right.
I'm
Absolutely.
just not. It's not me. I mean, I don't need anybody to substantiate my identity, and I've pretty much dismissed my identity at this point. But I stand with anybody who is along that lines. You know, like
Right.
that's why I dig the so-called Black indigenous population, because I'm like, no, they're not doing it. They're not in it for the money. They're not in it for the fucking land. They're saying, no, this is what we are. There's nothing to gain from it. We're not going anywhere, but we're going to say it because this is the truth. And that's why I said last night, I'm like, it just so happens I'm on the side of truth, and that the truth happens to be with people that happen to look black. That's just,
Yeah.
I'm not on anybody's side, but the side of truth. And if that's where it lays, then that's where I'm at. I don't care what.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what I mean. That's what I'm talking about from that. I mean, I'm not into fallacious historical narratives, but what I will say is if you want to genuinely admit that we want to have an ethnic identity that has nothing to do with YT man, then that's great. Go for it. And if it happens to be some identity that's related to indigenous peoples in this country, that's fine.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that because that's an historical reality. There are people, runaway slaves, this is all documented, that are integrated into indigenous communities. They did. So, I mean, the Guarifuna people in Honduras are a prime example of that. But there are other places in Americas that are like that. But yet those people do not get acknowledged because of their phenotype. They don't get acknowledged as being indigenous from an ethnic perspective. They're somehow always linked to Africa. But that's a YT way of looking. That's only the YT man and how he wants to organize the world and his peoples. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. But
So
you know my work,
right. So that's what I tell the FBAs. The problem with them is that you want to still work within the YT framework, but you're not going to win because you didn't create it. It's not for you. And quite frankly, you don't even control it. You never did control it. You always had to work with the YT man to get anything in this country because this is the country we live in. And those are the people who've always ruled it. So I don't know where I don't know where they get the notion that somehow by delineating from other groups, other so-called black groups, Negro groups, that somehow you're going to somehow be better off is my point. Because in either case, because all these groups that you're attempting to delineate from, they didn't choose to be black either. It was assigned to them as well. When they came to this country, they were called Negro. They didn't say, oh, we want to be black. As a matter of fact, if they had the choice, they probably wouldn't be black because they saw how blacks were being treated. Why would anybody want to be black in America? Exactly. If you had the choice? Think about it. Why would you want to deliberately be part of a group that's been marginalized, that's been oppressed, if you had the choice? If they say you could be white or black, which one would you be? Everybody would choose white. Yep. Just like if I went to another country and they had an oppressed group and a non-oppressed group, and they said, which one to be? Of course, I'm going to choose a non-oppressed group. So that's just common sense. So that's why I don't understand where these people's logic is coming from. It doesn't even make sense. What it seems like to me is that they're doing exactly what these Lumbee people are doing. They want to please YT man. So, let's hate on the Somalis. Let's hate on these other immigrant groups because that's what the YT man likes. So YT daddy can say, oh yeah, look at my good Negro child. You guys are acting like me. Okay, I'll give you a seat at the table. That's exactly what's going on here. They don't like to hear that, but that's exactly what it is.
Let's fucking sell out.
What else could it be? Because you don't have any power. The Africans don't have any power. So what else could it be? You're doing what those Lumbee people are doing. You want a seat at the table and you want acknowledgement by your YT overlord. That's what it is. But and again, when I say this, I'm not saying this to be prescriptive. I'm not saying, and that's a bad thing because I don't do that. I just don't like people being dishonest and lying about what they're doing. Just say that's what you're doing. Exactly. Say we love it. We love YT man. We want him to acknowledge us. We want a seat at his table. And I say, great, good luck to you. I hope you can get that. But don't try to lie and make it seem like you have some type of. Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
Go ahead, Mike.
I didn't mean to interrupt, Jay, but I wanted to say that you might be asking too much because see now you're saying that people that don't know what they're doing should know what they're doing when they don't care that they don't know what they're doing.
What I'm saying is that just be honest about what you're doing. Like if that's what that's all I'm saying. I'm saying because Well, but Mike, I think they can't because they know if you, I mean, me and DeGual did this to a guy on here earlier when he was trying to make all these points about something, and then we use his same rhetoric, but just flip the group he was talking about, and it sounds like, he didn't like that then suddenly. What it is that they don't want to do it because of how it'll sound. If they actually say what I just said, that, hey, we love White T-Man and we need him to accept us, they don't like how that sounds because it makes them sound powerless. They're like agency, they're weak. And they don't want to appear as weak, but that's exactly what they are because that's exactly what they're doing. They're trying to beg for a seat at the table, the White T-Man's table, and that's the problem. They'll never actually say that, but everything that ye shall know them by their fruits. I go by what people do because behavior is a language. I want to see what these people are doing, and what they're doing is that they're hating on on immigrants and first generation people who came from other countries because they know that pleases the White T-man currently in power. But guess what? If another White T-man comes in power who's the opposite, then they'll jump on that bandwagon. So they'll be. And let me just put it this way: let another White T person come into power, White T come into power that's now all pro-immigrant and Pan-African at that. Then I guarantee you the rhetoric will change. I guarantee you.
If you could have seen, Jay, there was this guy named Ice on. So what I was doing to that, what the guys call me fat when you bounced, we came back up. Another guy was named Ice, and I was like, vibes went in on him. It's like, oh, so you just want to deport all these Mexicans? He's like, hell yeah! And so I actually picked the spot right next to him, and I started saying, I was like, yeah, man, you know what? I was like, we should probably start some public hangings, at the Capitol, let's bring back the sundown laws and start hunting these immigrants, And he was like, all of a sudden his tone changed really quick. He's like, wait a minute, man, you're a little decrepit. And he's like, because I'm a Marine, he started saying that you know how to do this stuff. I was like, yeah. And then I just kept going in further and further, just seeing how far he would go. And then he had just eventually bounced. I can't wait to post it after when this recording comes, man. It was fucking hilarious as hell. But that's the thing. It's like, rather than try to argue with these people, I used to do this on Facebook where I actually I had a YT identity of this old white dude with gray hair in front of an American flag in a blue suit and a red tie, and people would start fights with me about racial debates. And so I would go on my YT account, and I would join that person in their racial rhetoric towards myself. And only certain people in the group knew what I was doing. There was some people would say, "What are you doing?" Like, because I would go so far in on my brown skin, just calling myself like, sweat back and all kinds of shit. And they would just be cracking up. And this guy's like, all of a sudden he starts backing off like his racist rhetoric because he sees that he's being exposed and he's being liked by somebody who is far more right wing than he is, And then all of a sudden he starts to check himself. And I think that approach really causes a person to see the reflection and then maybe publicly call it into question, but go back right into it on a covert form in the background.
That this is a guy here named Babby, and he claimed to be FBA.
Oh, God,
I did the same thing. I played devil's advocate. I said, okay, well, I'm FBA because actually, theoretically, from the perspective of FBA, I would be FBA. I don't have my grandparents, great-grandparents, great-grandparents. Nobody's from another country. They're all from the United States of America. So I'm FBA. And I said, okay, I'm FBA then. So then you just said your father's from Ghana. So then who are you to tell me anything? Let me just shut you down now. You have no right to say anything because you're not even FBA. Then all of a sudden he changed it. Oh, I'm an advocate for FBA. Well, who made you an advocate? You're a self-proclaimed advocate? See, they don't like when you take it against them now, when you actually get somebody in the room. You see what I mean? That's the problem with these people.
When you're a bona fide FBA, Right,
I'm like, so now you're talking to somebody who is FBA so you can't tell me nothing, bro. I'm only using their rhetoric because that's exactly what they would say. As soon as they find out his father is from Ghana, it's a wrap. They're like, so why is he speaking? Why do you think you have a vote here? That's my whole point here. But see, I'm not really like that with people, but I'm saying like, if you want to play that game, bro, then you're going to lose because you're not even a part of that group anyway. So I don't even know why you would even attempt to do something like that because you're going to make yourself look foolish, right? By doing that. And, as far as you guys were talking about earlier about you guys mentioned Cubans and it's interesting about that because that's where I see where race and class intersect. Because see, what the thing about Cubans is that they're actually by law, they are white people. Right? Yeah. Most of them. So, now there's paper and then there's reality. Now in the street, some of them will clearly are black presenting, but My point is with that is that I noticed that when it comes to class, once you get by the race thing, then class becomes financial, social class becomes an issue. It seems to me that people who are racially considered white tend to stick together within their class. So like notice you rarely see working class white people living in working class black neighborhoods, right?
Yeah, no, you don't
They
see
don't.
that.
You don't normally see that. You normally see them somewhere else, and that's why I'm saying that when it comes to that whole issue, it seems that people start dividing once you got through the race thing. Now it's this social financial class thing, and then people tend to take together by the back. So, like in New York, historically, most of the neighborhoods that are working class, that you have white ones like Italians, you have Russians. You have Jewish neighborhoods, and then the blacks and Hispanics tend to be, and these are Hispanics of Caribbean origin, they tend to be in their own neighborhoods working class. That's how it gets divided. And it's usually the working class where it gets divided the most. You understand what I'm trying to tell you?
Oh yeah.
Like that's how they and it's very unique in this country where they do that, but it's because of the racial thing that you'll have people of the same classes social classes, but yet they're dividing each other based on a race and how the United States perceives them. But the point I was trying to make is that if the government decides that you're a white person, then you're not black, then you go to that side into the class that matches that side. So
Yeah.
Cubans, it makes sense why they would act like they act because the government is telling them they're white. So they're like, well, then why would I identify with any issues related to non-white people? Why would I fight for that? Why would I, cape for that? They're not going to do that, right?
No,
Because it doesn't benefit them, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't benefit them.
Exactly.
So that's the answer.
There was the census.
That's why they don't feel like the way we do. Go ahead, Nagar. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Nagar.
They put Mexicans in the white tea category, and then after a while they switched it back, and then the Mexicans got really pissed, and that Lula formed, and then they were like they demanded the white status back. I was like, what, man? But that's exactly it. Once you get aligned with that status, you reap some type of benefits, whether it be just social status or not. But once they get used to it, it's just like, all right. I mean, I've always been placed in the. You guys can see at this point. I mean, I've been mistaken for African so many times this week.
Oh my God!
I'm on the lower rung, with the black folk. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, it's
Nagar,
like
you know what? It's funny you mentioned that because you know what? Go ahead. My bad.
yeah, it's
No, go
like
back.
it's like Nagual, and that's what I'm saying because even though Mexicans since the War of 1812, now excuse me, not 1812, the Mexican American War, they've been classified as white. But see, the problem with that is even though they were white on paper, so white by law, phenotypically, many Mexicans do not pass as they don't look white. They don't present as white.
Yes, sir.
So even though they were legally white, you still had restaurants in the South during segregation that said no Mexicans, and they had a specific phenotype in mind when they thought of Mexican. They weren't thinking of a rubia. They weren't thinking of blonde hair, blue eyed Mexican. They were thinking, which there exists. They were thinking of a certain phenotype that was dark. So that's why it's like why that's why Mexicans, and what I've noticed is the United States especially too, even people who are certain cohorts that are classified as white, if many of their members don't present as white on the street, they will never be socially accepted as white. So they're forced to have their own communities outside of whiteness because even though they're legally white, they're not socially white because they don't phenotypically present as white. But guess what? Had it been the opposite and they actually did phenotypically present as white, Mexicans that identity probably would not even exist anymore. They would just be white people at this point. But it's only because they don't physically present at it, they'll never be accepted as white socially. Whereas other groups that came from Europe, that maybe in the beginning weren't considered white, socially, like the Irish, the Italians, things like that, eventually, because of their phenotype, they eventually were let in as long as they gave up their ethnic identity and took on this generic whiteness. But if you don't pass that muster, you'll never be accepted. So that's why with Cubans, it's interesting because the Cubans that are phenotypically present as white, they can blend in, they can immigrate, they can migrate in. But their family members that are dark, no. You will never get a seat at the table of whiteness. You see what I mean?
I embody what you mean. Yeah.
You and Black? Oh
No,
yeah,
I'm,
because you
I'm,
said
I'm
because you're dark, so you won't.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Even my family, within my family, always used to call me negro when I was younger.
Understand that even if you were legally considered white, you would never be social. You were never in your life ever socially accepted. Nobody ever mistake you for a white man,
Now, my
right?
mother's birth certificate literally says white on it, and she was the darkest of the family, so I've
Right.
taken after my mother.
Right. But you were, but you were never in your life ever nobody's
Hell
mistaking
no.
you for a white
Hell
man.
no.
Oh my God, look
Never
at that.
mistaken for
Nobody.
white.
In other words, if you robbed a bank, nobody would describe you as a white man.
Hell no.
That white, right?
And a black man, 5'10", 150. You know.
Right. But that's what I mean. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Even though legally on that paper it would say race and it would say a W, right? So that's
Yep.
my whole point. It's like it doesn't that there's that intersection of actual what I call your street race and then your on paper race.
Street race.
Yeah, there's your street race, and that's totally different from your on paper race. Your on paper race is going to say white, but your street race is going to be non-white. So it's like, or OTW, the word you like to use.
Yeah.
Other than white,
That's why I
right?
got so much credit out these TikTok streets, man.
Right. So that's why I'm like, it's interesting, but, and that's why when people talk about, black people having unique issues, being unique in this country as far as the oppression and the discrimination they face, I understand that because, phenotypically, black people, because they've been defined as the antithesis of whiteness. People are and I know especially in America, people are actually, we're trained to be hypersensitive to perceived blackness.
Yep.
Everyone is.
Yep.
Everyone is perceived to be able to they've even did studies on this. Everyone in the United States from early ages, because it's built into the media and our systems, has been programmed to be hypersensitive to blackness and perceiving blackness and perceiving that somebody is black. Everyone. So that's why I'm saying that when I don't discount when people talk about blackness being unique in terms of the issues they face, because it's true. It's just the way it is. But because of the history of this country, discrimination and all that other, slavery and all these other things. So it's like, we can't discount that. But at the same time, we have to understand that you can't use that to then this identity that was given to everyone who had that phenotype. You can't use that to then try to make up an ethnicity. That's my problem. It's like, no, that's not how it works. You can't use a top down understanding of this and then try to say, hey, we're going to make an ethnicity around this. And then when I ask them, well, how do you define the ethnicity? Actually ask a black person, what do you mean by black? You'll get so many different answers, bro. I went round and round with somebody about that when we were talking about what is FBA, what is the F, what is the B, and what is A. I got different answers from different FBAs. They try to sound authoritative, and I'm like, well, you're not, because somebody else gave me another answer. And then we get to the point,
talking about,
right? And then we get to the point where I tell them, well, at the end of the day, the YT government has to define it, or you don't exist, because that's what you're looking for. Then they bring up this California Senate bill. I looked at the California Senate bill. It doesn't mention FBA at all. It says American freedmen and their progeny. And it defines what that is. It says nothing about that's the same. No, it's not the same. In the law, it must be it's spelled out exactly as it says. That's how contracts work. Contracts have to be exactly. You cannot say, no, that ain't what it says. What does it say? It's verbatim. So therefore,
that's something I noticed, Jay.
Yeah,
I noticed that a lot of FBA like to split hairs when it comes to terms. They don't really read a whole lot. They don't really have a whole lot of references to back up what they're saying. A lot of it is based off of emotion, and I get where it comes from. The FBA is refreshing for a unique identity that's exclusive to Americans. I get that's the appeal, it seems like, but it's almost self-defeating, because now you're starting all over from scratch. You don't have an identity. You have something that somebody again threw at you. I didn't mean to cut you off, Jay, but I just wanted to throw that.
No, you good. No,
That's
that was a great point. And actually, and that's what I'm saying, Mike. It's like what I've noticed, if you look at the historical record in the United States, the word changes over time, but it refers to the exact same cohort, and it has the exact same connotations, whether we're called colored people, Negroes, Black, Afro-Americans. It is a reference to the exact same thing. It does not change the status of these people in any way, shape, or form. So my issue is why are we so hyper focused on a label instead of focusing on the actual issue, which is a ethnicity, building an ethnicity, a cultural identity that has nothing to do with the racial paradigm. That is the point. But instead of doing that, they just say, oh, well, we don't like color. Let's call ourselves Negro. Oh, we don't like Negro. Let's call ourselves Black. Do you know I have documentation from the 1940s and where there were people who were saying that we should call ourselves Black, and these so-called Negroes are saying we can't call ourselves Black. We're a race, not a color.
Yeah,
As if somehow Negro meant something different.
exactly.
What we need to do is try to identify as rich. We need to identify with being money.
Right.
Now, Mike and I were making that point earlier, where if anything should be followed, if any type of doctrine should be ascribed, it should be looking back into the actual, the historical lineage, not just the made up current modern lineage,
Yeah.
the lineage that's associated with remedy, with legal remedy, so that there can be some paper trail that you can always, that your future generations can link back to and seek some type of reparations or restitution in the future.
Yeah, that would be nice, but then we have the issue of records and documentation. And as you talk, me and you, Niguel, very, very know, because of these labels and things, you start hitting dead ends with names, last names, and all these kind of things, right?
Yeah, but there has been a few scholars that I really like. One of my friends is a research enthusiast, where he's actually made a good case that the term Indian is the most recognized term lineage in the past that is associated with legal remedy, whether it be treaty law or some type of restitution. So I think it's the aim and the direction that is most important. You know, I don't think at my generation, being 51, there will be no remedy for my specific generation. I'll probably peel out before any type of restitution gets paid or anything like that. But I do possess ethical and spiritual responsibility to lay that path through literature, so that future generations can just seek it. At some point, I'll centralize this whole cache of research, hopefully before I peel out, so that anyone can just gain access to it and seek any type of subject matter for themselves.
Yeah, and I've said that before. The FBA's come on here. I say, look, if your issue is you want to delineate for the purposes of reparations, okay, fine. That's a political issue. That can be you can. There's an objective way to go about doing that. Mm-hmm. Okay, fine. You're still seeking something from the YT, man. Just keep that in mind. That's what you're doing. But if that's what you want to do because you get some benefits, great. More power to you. The problem is that then when I say that, oh well, it's not just about political. It's also cultural. And I'm like, wait a minute. What do you mean? What cultural?
Dead end.
What? So what culture? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Then
Which
all of
one?
a sudden, oh, well, this, that, and they start hyper-focusing on certain things. And I'm like, well, what does that have to do with, like, you get what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, even me and Divine were on here talking about how they tend to hyper-focus on certain things and not other things, especially modern things. And it's like, okay, what about this, though? But you want to focus on that, and that's everything to you. And I'm like, that's my issue here. It's like, once I told one MP, I said, look, you can't have your cake and eat it too. Either this is going to be a political movement or a cultural thing. Which one is it? Because they're not the same things. They have different aims. There's different ways to get there. They're not the same thing at all. So which one are you talking about? Because see, the problem is they want to have it both ways. They want to say, oh, well, because I said, what do you mean in the American and FBA? Oh, well, that means you were born in the United States of America. That's what that means. And I'm like, okay, so that's a legal concept because that goes back to the Constitution with 14th Amendment, whatever.
That's
okay, great. But then they want to say, oh, but then also it's about culture. That's why people, even if you're born here and you're classified as Black, you're not culturally Black. And I'm like, well, what the fuck does that mean? Now, what do you mean culturally Black? What is that all about?
Yeah,
and then when we get into that's when it all falls apart. Then it becomes, this very nebulous concept. And I'm like, yeah, that's all bullshit, bro. So let's try again. If you were wise, you would just stick with the political thing because that actually can be objectively defined. And you can get, like we talked about, with the law and things of that nature. Stick with that. Don't start getting into all this other stuff because that's when not to say that the political thing is really can't get any more nebulous, because even in this California bill, when they defined American freedmen and their progeny, they didn't really, it was kind of, because I asked an FBI, I said, okay, well, how much of this ancestry much you possessed? What if you if we're going to talk about, right? Yeah, what if you find out you're only 1/8 FBA, 1/16 FBA, then what? Are you qualified?
I'll be the first to tell people that, I sought legal remedy through legal means. I mean, I've represented myself pro se in a court of law defending my property. I did everything to the T that would have been asked for anybody to utilize the system to get some type of remedy. And they still fucked me in the ass. You know
Was
what I'm
this
saying?
in a civil proceeding or a criminal case?
It was a state case. So I was the plaintiff. Trump was
Oh, so
on
it was
my
civil. Okay.
yeah. Trump was on my case. I had a state case and a federal case. But
Yeah.
what ended up happening, I defended my property for 10 years without paying mortgage, which I see as a win. But eventually, at the end of it, they did illegally evict me, and all of my efforts went down the shithole, including all of my life possessions. They
Yeah.
literally threw away. But I still see it as a win of some sort because I'm like, my case is registered at the state, and anyone can reference my case and literally print it out for themselves in sequential order and use it as a defense for their properties. But
You sued the state?
yeah, I went after
Oh,
them.
that's interesting. I'm surprised they actually waived their immunity.
Uh,
Because normally states will waive their immunity. They claim immunity, so you can't sue a state.
so it wasn't the state; it was the Morgan Stanley and
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Deutsche Bank. So it was for property mortgage. So
Oh, you sued the bank. Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Because they were trying to claim it as collateral, right? Yeah.
right. So but eventually, what I did do
Ooh,
is
man, I don't know, man. I think I'd have to find somebody, boy. I would have to find somebody for that shit. You throwed all my shit out and stole my house. Yeah. I think I might have to. I think I might have to backseat somebody for that.
Believe me, bro. It was so. You know what they did it, bro? They did it on, no joke, 4th of July. I got a call from my neighbor. I was taking care of my friend of mine who had cancer, and she's like, "Leroy, they're at your place. They're throwing all your stuff out." I was like, "What?" So I had to leave my friend at the oncologist, and I went over there, and I talked to. There was 3 Mexicans and a Russian dude that was throwing all my stuff out, and I looked at the Mexicans, and they talked to the Russian dude. He's like, "Grab what you can, man." So I started throwing all my stuff in the back of my truck. But what eventually happened was, I exposed them. There was was it $3.2 billion what's it called, a grant that was afforded to Oregon specifically for homeless people. And what I was doing was I was substantiating with my case that anybody that is in foreclosure could be deemed a homeless person, so that money could be available to anyone that was in foreclosure. And what happened is that $3.2 billion went missing, just out of the blue, just kind of up and disappeared. No one could place their fingers on it. So Donald Trump was on my case. Yeah, him and what's his name? I forget the mayor at that particular point, but Steve Mnuchin, like all these people were on my case, and that they got so upset with me that they wouldn't, by law, they're supposed to let me go in and get my stuff out of my condo, which was $500,000 condo up on the West Side Hills where all the white tea people live. And they were floored, man. Like for 10 years, it was just little old me on the plaintiff's side representing myself. No no lawyer. I was represented pro se. Well, there's 3 lawyers over there, 2 for Morgan Stanley, 1 for Deutsche Bank, and the judge up there. And they're just looking at me like, how is this kid getting away with this? You know, like I just had to go down and study law with a gunnery sergeant, a friend of mine from the Marine Corps. And they eventually just got so pissed that they illegally evicted me. And I found out that the sheriff who illegally evicted me, he was quiet titling mortgages behind people's backs. So he would evict people and then quiet title their homes and get a home for free. He did that 5 times. So my case was basically bringing this out to the public side, but it eventually just went down the shitter because I couldn't afford it any time. I was so involved with trying to find a place to live.
The feds didn't get involved for that.
Which part? Like evicting me or
with the sheriffs, because the feds
they were in on it.
No, the sheriffs.
Yeah, no, the sheriff was.
Oh, yeah.
They were all. That's what I figured out was that I went down to I was trying to quiet title my own home, and I went down to the county recorder's office to record some affidavits that were involved in my case, and I showed them on their own computer screen. I said, "Look, by law, it says you're supposed to register this, record this file," and they were like, "Sorry, we can't do that." So we went and talked to a real estate lawyer. He had never even heard of a quiet title. After about two hours of research, he came back and he's like, "You know what? You guys are right. You have the legal standard to quiet title your home." And I was like, "So you'll take our case?" He's like, "Oh, hell no. No." He's like, no, I can't do that. That'll cost me my job." So then I started to learn that everyone that's barred has a license to practice law. They're also constituents with the courts and the banks. So there was no hope. That's what I had to learn the hard way after 10 years of studying law. I finally figured out that what I had assumed in the first place, the whole system is corrupt. But I had to find out for myself and just really test the practice of law to begin with to actually know that for a fact.
Nagual, I heard something from somebody in the Facebook group when it comes to the law is that you could fight in the court about the situations, but they'll either bully their way into getting you to lose, or you could fight it a different way. And what they said was you can't win the case by law. What you have to do is beat them with procedure, because if and 9 times out of 10 they probably have steps somewhere in the procedure, and because those things can be audited and they can be punished for it, that's where the win is. So they said, yeah, so you might have a slam dunk case and you could use all kind of codes or even the law to win your case, but if it's left up to their determination about your well-being and whatnot, they will win every time. But if you go after how they're processing the case itself and order misstep submitting some paperwork or timely date stamping something, they said that's where the win is at. And it almost makes sense because that record of account is 100% unrefutable. Like, did you stamp this on time? No. Well, here's it is. You broke
Yeah.
the law in the procedure.
Yeah, people
Yeah.
people
So what they're saying is you. Go ahead.
yeah, people have no idea you start to understand why lawyers were put as a mediation between the courts and the public. It's like you understand their position. It's just a buffer zone, and all of that procedure that you're referring to is exactly right. I mean, but what people don't understand is the fact that how much of that procedure is you take upon your own self when you become and represent yourself pro se. Now you're the one who has to understand every single aspect of what you said. Just stamping a particular affidavit as before a specific time and having it worded in the correct way and having your case law presented in such a fashion. It's like, what the hell am I doing? I'm learning statutes and codes that have nothing to do with common law, and I'm having to arrange them. And if they're not properly displayed, then they won't even accept my affidavits. And it's just all this bullshit. I was like, man, but it had to be done. And luckily I had a coach when I was doing it, but I wouldn't want to do it again, which is why I'm happy that my case is established. No one has to really go through that effort anymore because I've already laid that foundation. So all they literally have to do, if anyone's even listening right now, if you ever have a person's in foreclosure within the United States, 50 states, they can use my case. All they have to do is go to Multnomah County Courthouse in Portland, Oregon, and ask for my case in sequential order. And they can literally just, every time that a specific court hearing comes up, they can remove my name and my state and put their state and their name in the documents and use my specific case as their own.
I would agree. I think that the greatest utility of an attorney is actually, as you said, in the procedural, knowing the procedural aspects of it, because every jurisdiction has different procedures in terms of when to file something, what you're to file, who's to be notified, when they're to be notified. All that stuff you wouldn't even know unless you've worked in that jurisdiction.
Difficult. Yeah.
And it's very difficult. Like you said, if you miss one deadline, they're, oh, well, sorry, you can't do that. Missed the deadline, right? So it's like, that's really the utility of an attorney. But if in terms of just giving arguments, that's a different story.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Because I can give an argument. I mean, I can write it up an argument. But as far as like, especially when we're dealing with proceedings where there's a discovery process, which is the most arduous process of a proceeding, that has a lot to do with deadlines and notifications and things of that nature and how it's supposed to be given, the discovery package. And that can get very, if you don't turn in a certain time, this can be excluded in terms of evidence and right. So, but you wouldn't know that unless you were, and then like you said, Noel, you did that in your jurisdiction, but you go somewhere else, it'd be completely different. They have completely different rules.
Yeah.
There's no universal thing. So
no, I was so lucky to have my friend, that gunnery sergeant, Manuel. He was just insane, man. I mean, the county recorder's office, the clerks there, they would actually thank me. They were like, thank you, because I would give everything in CD-ROM form, which no one ever does. Like, that's how efficient my guy was. He was coaching me he held my hand the entire way, and they were so happy to see me when I come in to record paperwork. They're just, oh, he's coming in. We'll have your CD in already, and they're like, no one ever does this. I was like, they were all looking at me like as if I was the one literally doing it, but it was like, no, this is my friend here, Emmanuel. He was the one. I was just the front man taking all the credit.
Right. Yeah, it's. I mean, I learned a lot about that in New York because in order to buy property here, you have to have an attorney to close.
Oh
So
yeah,
there's different procedures here in terms of how contracts are supposed to be written, presented, deadlines, and things of that nature. So you learn a lot. I mean, a lot of it I learned just by researching because I'm cuckoo and I like to know what people are doing. So
yeah.
I'm like, let me study this and see like what actually is supposed to happen in the process. But yeah, that's the most important thing is actually knowing the process. It's not even the actual case itself, as far as like the oral arguments and things of that nature.
Yeah, I mean, you were interested in shit that no one's ever interested in. No one's. I realized how stupid I was getting in the loan that I got into in the first place. I was just so eager to get my house. I was willing to sign, my own ass and put it on the fucking desk.
Yeah, you sound like a typical American, right?
Yeah, you realize it's the whole process that really is demeaning in some way because they put an encyclopedia in front of you, and no one likes paperwork, and all you want is the keys to your home so you can get in there and
Right.
feel at home, and they know that for a
Right.
fact. So they just throw that big old phone book at you, and you're just like, oh my god, my hand's getting tired. Please get to the next one. Nothing. You don't read a damn thing.
And that's why it's always irritating to me when some people on this we've had different guests on these panels and they'll just say, oh, that's just semantics. And I say, yeah, no, that's not actually how it works. What you say is semantics that actually completely change what we're talking about. See, if you come from a place of studying contracts, it's never just semantics. Every word means something.
Hell yeah.
Every phrase means something. It's never just, oh, it's just semantics. See, yeah, like, you know what I mean? It's like, no, you need to actually know when it says time is of the essence, you need to understand what that means. That's a very specific thing that's been defined in law. It's not just a semantic thing. It's not just, a nice fluffy thing they said. No, it means something, bro. You get what I mean? So it's like,
Exactly,
and I
'cause-
think, yeah, go ahead.
I'll tell you, semantics will be the very rope that they hang you with in court too.
Right.
It might seem like it's just red paper minutia. No, they are going to go right to the semantics part, and then they're going to interpret those semantics for you. And this is how important it is to kind of like go over those semantics and make sure you have them disambiguated if you don't understand what it means. So you go over these long drawn out contracts and say, hey, look, I don't understand this. Can you clarify this for me and put it in writing for me if necessary? Because I'm trying to tell you, man, these people don't know you, man. You just can't go like Nguyen said. They gave you these yellow pages worth of shit to sign before you get into the deal. And then once you get through that and you haven't went through every line and crossed every T and dotted every I, next thing you know, you could wind up in court 6 months later, and you're talking about the semantics that you didn't understand, and they're gonna be like, "Well, it's all right, we got it for you. Here's what we meant when we said this. Yeah, we meant that we were going to put you on the outside of your house along with all of your belongings, including your underwear, the ones that you just dirtied up. Yeah, them too. They're gonna be outside. Yeah,
and even like certain phrases. That's what I said. Of course, with contracts and things like that, you have a lot of legalese. So they'll use certain phrases that you may interpret it one way, but this has a specific meaning that's already been settled in case law with how this is to be interpreted. So you have to know that, right? Because you may think, oh, this means this, and come to find out, no, it meant something else.
Yeah.
It's already been established in case law what this is, how this is to be interpreted, and you're supposed to go by that. You see what I mean? So that's why when people get on here and they just want to give their opinions about what something, I'm like, I don't give a fuck about your opinions. Your opinions are meaningless. I give a fuck about if I have to go to court, how will this be applied? Not how you think it should be. Not no, right? Because at the end of the day, that is the threshold here. That is the bar. The bar has been set. So I need to know that for the purposes of for the purposes of utility. I need to know how this would be interpreted in court. So like you said, and if you say you don't understand, so okay, well they're gonna say, well, did you sign this? Is that your signature? So then when you sign that, you said, and actually, as a matter of fact, they usually have in fine print, I hereby declare that I have read and have understood all of the above, right? Right there.
Yeah, it might as well just say, you.
Right. And then, so you can't say, I didn't understand. I thought that meant that. Okay, well, what you thought is irrelevant. You signed this, and in there you said, right? And matter of fact, that's why do you think that Why do you think that when you, especially when it comes to mortgage documents, when you sign those closing documents, you have to have a notary public present to notarize them?
Yep.
And you take what's called, and they
Yep.
do what's called an affidavit, where you swear an affidavit, you
Mm-hmm.
swear that you are, signing this, and and this is all understood. And then they put their little stamp, because I'm a notary public, and that's what you do. So you can't, they
Yep.
do that because because when you go to court, if you try to claim something, you have no excuse. They're going to say, well, you signed it, you were there, this isn't fraudulent. That's it. You saying you didn't know it, or that's neither here nor there at that point. Nobody cares,
Yep.
right?
Yep. No, they don't get
Gentlemen,
it.
so
Yep.
we're all in a good,
Right.
right? Yeah.
What they will say is I tell you what, Mr. Phillips, some easier documents for you to understand is these bankruptcy documents. Go down there and file Chapter 11. All you got to do is sign your name 3 times, and you'll be just fine. And maybe you can keep the house, and we'll give you a decent payment on all your debt. Yeah, so yeah, they'll give you a ton of shit to sign when it comes to a mortgage. You don't understand not one word of it, but the bankruptcy, yeah. If you fuck up one time, just
By the time
one,
you get to the bankruptcy, it's too late.
it's
Yeah, that's
too
why
late.
I
I'm
was.
trying to tell you.
That's why before I even bought property, I was like, let me research all that, like specifically for the New York area, because again, property law, again, varies from jurisdiction to jurisdiction, and see like how it's done here, what this means, what is the process, this, that, because I don't want to get in a situation where someone presents me with something. I'm like, wait, what is this, right? Like, I need to know what the meaning of this is. What is this all about? Because I don't want to have a situation where I don't know what it is and I'm just signing something. Like, that's a very foolish thing to do.
Fuck yeah.
To just sign something and not know, okay, I'm just signing it. Like Nagual, you say, oh, because I just want a house, or I just want a car, or I just want whatever. And then you don't look at the fine print. You don't read how this impact. Yeah, it's like, and then you want to get mad later and say, oh, well, they didn't. Okay, well, did you sign it? But people do that. I worked at a bank for 10 years. So I used to do this all the time. People get mad and, oh, well, I didn't know. Well, did you sign that? So what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't read it. Okay, well, whose fault is that? I mean, what do you want? Right?
Yeah. By the time I remember,
You'd be like, I'd be like, well, it was in English.
yeah,
it wasn't in
fucking
yeah.
language, mother stupid.
Yeah. Yeah,
Trouble in the house.
Yeah, so that's
What's up,
why.
trouble?
Yeah, trouble's here. Yeah. Trouble, come up.
With the
on, miss.
female energy
Yeah,
in the
come on,
house.
Trevor. Sorry, guys. I have a guest. I've been entertaining my guests. I got Uncle back in the house. You feel me?
Huésped. Tu tío
I know
otra
what she said.
vez.
She had to go to the bathroom.
Tu tío otra
El
vez.
tío,
10
el
hours.
tío.
Tu tío barachón.
Did you guys
Trevor.
run into any FBAs?
Oh yeah, there was a couple.
I know
can't
you
wait
had
to
you guys
post
up here,
one of
but
the
I
clips.
didn't want to ruin it.
Oh, it was
They're
great.
all afraid. They're all afraid, man. You guys, I don't know what you guys
Mike and I
did.
went in on one, man.
You guys ran them out here with your
Yeah.
intellectual thoughts.
Yeah, one of them was claiming Nagual was fat. I remember that one.
I was the
Oh,
target
that
today,
was way
man.
back when.
I know that was all the way back in like 2 hours ago.
Oh, really?
1990.
Yeah, Nagual always gets. It's funny because Nagual, like you said, people assume that you're African, but then when they hear vibes, they assume that he's white or something else. Not OT. They assume he's white
We
or
throw
some
them
other type
off
of
for
non.
sure.
Because they hear him, they say, "Wait, he's a white guy. How do you right? How can he be saying anything?" And then, and then he says, "Oh no, I'm actually Mexican." Oh well, that's even worse.
And then I hit them with the East
Yeah,
African, and they're like, "Oh shit!"
You're like, yeah. They're like, so you're an immigrant on both sides. You're not. Yeah, you're an immigrant on both
These
lineages.
people are too multicultural.
You're a tether.
Right.
Get up out of here.
Yeah, they say, oh, we see. Of course, he would be against FBA. Look at his lineage. Of course, he would be. That's just, and in a way, they're kind of right, but it is what it is. It's like, yeah, well, of course. I mean, because the vibes. To be honest with you, if you actually were pro FBA, you would look like a fool.
That's the thing. They don't know
Right?
we had.
I would never. I would
in our back
never.
pocket.
That's why I make.
But you
clear
would look like a fool.
distinctions
You would look like
between
that. Yeah. You would look like that Babby guy. You would look like a fool. Like, why would you be FBA? It's not even in your interest to be best
Right.
interest to be FBA. Right?
Well, now that's why, even saying Black American, and just back to what we were talking about
Yeah.
me always considering even Mexico being part of America, and let alone that as a citizen here, as an American, and I'm putting Black in front of it. black is still up for debate. You know, it's still tied up in
Mhm.
black as international, you know, or black
Right.
globally. You know, you can't redefine what black is to meet your own criteria of it right now. You know,
Right.
I can
Exactly.
understand. I can understand. I can have empathy about a certain culture, which is still debatable, but I can still make a case for me being a black American in the sense of being born here and being a nationality as an American and black as this thing that I identify with, you know? So even then, but I
Yeah.
love African American, you know, and since you want to delineate away from African American, I'll go ahead and swoop that up. You know, I've always been calling myself African American, but I took it in the most
Same here.
literal, the most literal sense.
When I worked with
You know,
when I worked with Ethiopian people 20 years ago, they were claiming they were African Americans because they like came to the United States and they got citizenship and they were like, we're African Americans. And this was 20 years ago. So, I mean, it's not a new concept of having people that came directly from Africa, became great, you know, got their citizenship in the United States and calling themselves African Americans. That's not new.
yeah. If
Right?
Barack Obama could be African American, so can I. All right.
Right.
And everybody
Well,
was
obviously, yeah, 'cause
backing
yeah.
Barack Obama, even as Black American or people that
They were.
are
That's why they
Black
voted for him,
American.
because he was black.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have to work
a lot of people
harder.
also voted for him because his wife. A lot of Black Americans also voted for him
Right.
specifically because his wife was black. We got to keep that in mind too.
Yeah,
a lot of
imagine
them
if
said
he
that.
had
They
a
said they would
white-
not have voted for him if he had
imagine
been
if
with a
he-
white woman. Oh yeah, they said
imagine if he
no.
was with
Oh,
a
I had my
somebody.
professor, my African American studies professor. This was in 2005, 2006. She declared, if he would have been with a white woman, I would never vote for him. But because he's with a black woman, I will vote for him. They did not trust him if he was with a white woman. And I understand why, because they knew that African Kenyan thing. So they were like, he has to have some type of connection. Or they weren't doing it. They weren't going for it.
Well, this is the whole thing about the biracial thing, you know, because a lot of these biracial people are the new FBAs, just like they were the new black, quote unquote, right? And they're at the forefront of telling someone that they're not black, you know, that they are black, and that they know the concept of being blackness, and so even within their own dichotomy of that whole identity crisis and stuff. That's why I'm trying to make sense of it here. Here, I want to play something for you guys. It's a conversation. Okay, it's the same conversation I was showing you earlier, or you know, that one. It was a biracial woman.
Oh yeah. You mean where he was begging on his knees? Yeah.
Yeah, he's begging
Let's
on
see
his
this.
knees.
Yeah, we got to see
Yeah,
this.
it's gonna be. Yeah. Okay, here we go. So I'll give you the context. So she says she's biracial, and come to find out she's triracial. She's got a bunch of stuff going on, and she even said Melungian, you know, but she was talking about how FBAs. She has a problem with one FBA, and he was up in her DMs trying to coax her or something, trying to court her. And she was blasting him on social media about it. And she made this AI generated photo of her standing above an FBA that was on his knees and begging for her love, or, you know, like them chasing after biracial women. So it was funny to me, but then it turned kind of wicked because I'll just let you guys listen to it for a little bit. I'm loading the app right now. But yeah, like we were talking about the Creoles and all this other stuff, and how they also feel superior, you know. And it really came out of her how racist she really like was. You know, back to the whole thing, Jay, about like Eritreans and Ethiopians kind of going at it, and how the, you know, once you pick a side, you pick a side. And some of it is roasting, but you know, it crosses the line sometimes because they get a little colorist or they get a little racialist, and so that's. But my whole thing is how do you have more respect for someone that's half white, you know, than let's say an African person? And again, this whole FBA thing, if they are claiming to be FBA, if you read on their website, they do say they descend from African people, that their descendants are African, their ancestry is African. The only thing is they're trying to delineate because of how far removed they are from Africa. But their whole narrative is coming here on the slave ships and then chattel slavery. And, I'd make a case that those people that went through that traumatic experience were more African than they were American, right? Because they were more closely in time, more closely attached to their African side. They still carried their languages, they still carried their culture until it was stripped from them. And so if they're making that case, right, they cannot go back and talk shit about African people. That's my whole thing. Don't do that. Don't punch down on your ancestors. They're rolling in their graves listening to you talk. Oh, sorry, I got cut off. Got a call.
You tell him, bro.
Yeah, you're punching down on your ancestry, so don't do that. So this is where I draw a thin line, right? Because now they're saying they're American Indians. You can't let an FBA get away with saying that they're American Indian, or even try to, or even have empathy for them doing that, because FBAs themselves, as well as Tariq Nasheed, who is a grifter, because he was a Pan-African, and then he was full FBA, against immigration. So he's just moving around. He finds where he can fit in, and then he profits off of it. So I'm saying don't let him get away with American Indian, because Tariq Nasheed calls them pretendians. Okay, he doesn't believe in that. He says he's native black, and I think that comes from I think it's Claude Anderson. That's where he gets all his shit from, Claude Anderson, because he's the one that originally coined the term foundational Black American, right? So
I was mentioning that earlier.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So I'm saying pick a side. You can't claim it all. You can't claim it all. Okay. And then if FBA already has a clear cut thing about what they are as an identity, they don't relate to the American Indian thing, even though, shout out to the American Indians and what you believe in, but don't be trying to, like tippy toe here and there. It's a clear cut thing with me, because the FBAs are the ones I'm here for, and I'm going to be on their ass about what they're really claiming. If they're punching down on African people, I'm on their ass. Right. And so they just got to pick a side, for me.
Ray in the house. We can whatever the fuck we want. Come on up, Ray. Invite Ray up. He sounds interesting.
Let's see here. Okay,
Mr.
Right.
Bell, you just came in. Can we get your age, ethnicity, and where you from?
Oh, my mid-20s. My ethnicity, I'm a foundational Black American,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm from the East Coast, United States.
All right. Thank you for that.
Yeah, so I'm looking at some of these prompts in there. It says monkeys, African booty scratchers. Yeah, a lot of FBAs do use this type of language, but I've noticed that growing up, a lot of Africans admitted this. They did not hear this type of verbiage. It's relatively a new phenomenon. Would you agree?
In what scenario do I agree? Like, did Africans call themselves booty scratchers? Did African call
No, I'm
themselves
saying like
monkeys?
you
Is
didn't
that
hear. So the whole FBA thing, right? And some of them being derogatory and being mean to Africans, right? Wouldn't you agree that this is like a relatively new phenomenon, and people say it's led by Tariq Nasheed?
No, I would say there's a lot of Hollywood films, right? That one with Wesley Snipes, calling them, or where they call them Akatas, remember? And they get mad, but they were talking them shit about Africans too, right before that little scene happened. Then you got Crenshaw, when you got where he's like, "You African?" That little boy's like, "You African? You African?" He's like, "Nah, I'm from Crenshaw Mafia." Remember that? So these movies have already been implanted and circulated within communities and have had this kind of mind fostered by American culture or American movies, right?
I think Mr.
Who,
Belt is
wh- wh-
he's younger 20s, right?
Yeah, I am mid-20s.
Yeah, so you
oh,
wouldn't
okay.
actually be exposed to that type of
Okay, I
material.
got you. I got you.
So I'm
But most
asking,
of
what
this
do you guys
rhetoric,
Yeah, he
think
most
would
of
know
this
of
about that.
rhetoric.
vitriol?
I'm sorry.
hmm
What would
Go
you
go
say?
ahead, go ahead.
Sorry.
Vitriol coming from where?
Coming
Go
from
ahead, go ahead.
where?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
asking
So
you. You
I'm.
said the vitriol is what?
I didn't say vitriol,
I thought you
but
said
I was just
vitriol.
saying.
My bad. What did you say?
No, it's okay. Just that these sentiments, these assertions have been happening within American culture, American cinema, Hollywood, that portray this disdain for from Americans to immigrants. You know what I mean? And it's happened in American
Mm.
culture. I mean, white American culture, where they have a disdain for immigrants, the Italians, the et cetera, et cetera. You know what I mean? All the European immigrants that came here and the waves, and then they had to deal with the xenophobia, and then finally get accepted as white tea and come under. They're all on code now,
Oh, so
and so
why? If you feel like it's like an American thing, right? Americans are very like they can be very xenophobic, and attack other groups, right? Like outsiders.
well, white tea Americans specifically, and then we get the hand-me-downs of that xenophobia. That's what I think. Like kind of with the
Okay, well,
current
what
administration.
about Black Americans?
What
What
about
about
him?
Black
What
Americans?
about what about Black Americans?
Where? So I'm looking at the prompt here. It says, "Look at these damn tethers, monkeys." Where are these sentiments coming from? Why are they so hateful? Where is this coming from?
This is coming from TikTok, Tariq Nasheed specifically, who is revamping these
I'd asked
terms.
you that. You
Most of
guys
these
didn't
terms
answer
come
that.
from the movie Us. Have you ever seen the movie Us?
I did with Jordan Peele.
Right. It's funny because Jordan Peele is a biracial himself. So he kind of misconstrues what that movie is really about. So you remember like the it's kind of like a first class, second class kind of status where these people live underground and the normal people live up top. Remember? And they have a double,
Tethers.
right?
So I'm trying to create a stillman argument here. So I'm just asking you guys. So Us came out less than a decade ago. TikTok is a new phenomenon. Tariq Nasheed and his
Yeah.
spaces really just started a couple years ago. So I'm asking you guys, this derogatory language used by FBAs, is this a new thing or this has always been a thing? I'm asking you guys, what's your opinion on that?
Tariq Nasheed started his campaign, I think. What is it? 2000. Well, we didn't hear this after post the pandemic is when Tariq Nasheed was more, speaking about these things.
Oh, so it's a
And he was
relatively
on
new
different
phenomenon,
platforms.
right?
He was on different platforms before speaking like this, and now he just showed up on TikTok, and now
What's the point, Mr.
Vibe,
Belt? I'd like to hear this.
vibes.
hold on, hold on, Mike, hold on.
If I may, fellas. Okay.
I just want to get this clear. So I don't know how long he's been trademarked FBA. Now we want to make a clear distinction between FBAs and Black Americans. Not all Black Americans are FBAs. I know you're delineating,
Right.
and it's gonna take a long process to do so. Right? You got away from African American. You're now getting away from Black American, and you want to be an FBA. You want to add the foundational aspect to it, right? So that comes with a cost. That comes. I know it's a lineage, and there's nothing wrong with being separate. Now people still don't even identify with FBA. They want to be Salon. They want to be ADOS, right?
It's the
So
same thing.
it's not the.
But go ahead.
No, it's not. No, I believe it's not the same
It's
thing.
the
You
same
can't.
exact thing. It's the same exact
No,
thing.
nope. I
No,
don't.
it's
I don't
not.
believe so.
It is.
I don't believe so. But regardless of the
ADOS
fact,
is
here
the
let me
organization. Salon,
let me just end
FBA.
it. Let me land, Mister. You want my
Okay,
you want
okay.
my full thing? Okay. So the point of delineation is to the point of not using those terms anymore to come to find a new identity. That's what the whole thing is. That's like how you got away from African American. You're getting away from Black American to become an FBA, right? Some chose not to be called FBA, rather choose Salon. Others chose rather choose ADOS. These are different factions, maybe like you said, of the same thing, but now they don't identify like that anymore. That's why they changed their identity. Now, are you guys all going for the same cause? Maybe, but you guys are all going about it in your own way. So I believe FBA are going about it all in the wrong way. Tariq Nasheed might not be your leader, but he is your owner. He owns the patent on it. If you use FBA in a way he doesn't find fit, he can slap a lawsuit on you, and he can he can take a commission off of anything you sell out of his name, or out of his company. So that's why I say he's your owner. He's not your leader. If you consider yourself a FBA,
Right. I'm still waiting to answer my question though.
So it's a new phenomenon in the sense that Tariq Nasheed has turned it up a notch, and now you get all this xenophobic, all this anti-immigration. He's parroting this current administration. It sounds like Donald Trump gives him a memo every executive order, and he's willing to double down on it every single time. So I'll leave it at that. So I stop rambling. But I think Mike wanted to say something too. I don't know if Mike wanted to add anything to that, Mr. Bell. Let Mike respond.
Y'all just is this like a space? Y'all just want to cry about FBAs? I'm asking a specific question there. You just ramble for no reason. I asked you. You just said that it's a new phenomenon. That's what I was asking.
I'll take on an FBA, bro. I'll take on an FBA right now.
I'm asking you where it's coming from. Why are
right now, bro?
Why is FBA suddenly doing all the xenophobia? I'm asking you this. Can you answer that?
Well, we've encountered a lot, yes, on TikTok. I've never encountered a FBA in my real life.
Why though?
I've never encountered another Black American. I always have to redefine. I always have to explain what an FBA is to Black Americans. Mister, what's your question? What's your question?
I said it. I've been waiting for 5 minutes for you to answer it. Why? Suddenly a new phenomenon of all these FBAs attacking
Don't get on
Africans,
this panel
right?
and act like you don't see what people say on other lives and in the chats.
No, I see
Don't
it. I
sit
definitely
there
see
and
it. I
pretend
see
like
it,
you
man.
don't see it.
I see it. But I'm asking you. I'm trying to figure out the source so we can
The
figure out
source
this
is
problem.
FBAs in the
Yes.
chat.
Why are they randomly a new
Ask your
phenomenon
fellow
of people?
FBA. Why are you
I'm not
asking
finished the
us?
sentence, Trouble. Yes, we understand FBAs are attacking people. I know that. I know. We acknowledge that. I'm asking you for the 6th time. Why are they suddenly doing this post 2020, and why are they letting Tariq Nasheed post 2020 put this rhetoric in their head to attack immigrants and xenophobia? Go
You
answer.
want me to answer why FBAs are saying
Hold
these
on,
things?
Trouble. Hold on, Trouble.
I can answer that
Hold on,
question,
Trouble.
but
I know. We can all answer that question. I tried, but I feel like I didn't do such a good job for you. But let's go in order. Let's go Mike, Jay, Nagwal, and Trouble. Let's go all under 2 minutes. Let's try to explain it to Mr. Bell. Okay, go ahead, Mike. You got 2 minutes.
No, I don't want to hear therapy spaces. Can you give me like a 10-second answer?
What?
I don't want to hear about crying about FBAs. Can you just answer?
Why are you
Why?
policing the way we answer the question?
Why?
Because I'm not here. I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear
Mr.
therapy sessions. Please, I heard enough.
Ask your fellow
All right,
FBAs
Mike.
on why they're saying it. Why are you asking us?
Oh, you want
I
my
know,
answer?
for real.
You want my answer?
It's your question.
okay,
you
go-
want to answer your
go
own
ahead,
I'm
shoot.
question?
asking because I'm trying to bridge.
You want
the
to answer
gap
your
here.
own
I'm trying to bridge the
question?
gap.
Go ahead.
I'm
Go
asking.
ahead. Go
Or
ahead.
if she's asking me, I can answer for you. I'm telling you, a lot of Black Americans, or FBAs in particular, they're tired of the hateful, vitriolic weirdos attacking Black Americans, telling us that we have no culture, that we love white people, and we're Trump supporters, and XYZ. We're tired of people like you guys constantly attacking us and coming to America and benefiting from the very programs and laws fought for by Black Americans. You guys are tethering onto us, but at the same time hating on us. That's why you see an influx of people comparing notes and saying, hey, this Somalian said this Nigerian said that. We're tired of this. So what we're doing is we're coming together and we're getting you guys out of our circles. That's why we're delineating. That's my answer. Now, what's yours?
But he comes in our
It wasn't
circles.
my
That's
question.
great.
It wasn't my question. And you sat
All right.
here for a minute now, and you heard no vitriol from us. So I don't know.
Everything
what you're
that man
talking
said
about.
was vitriolic.
What?
Okay,
I can't.
from my opinion, from a person from my lineage, what he said was very vitriolic.
Which part?
The whole thing, his entire sentiment.
Every time I speak, I piss them off. I don't know
No,
why.
you're not pissing me off. I'm not upset at all, but I'm
I
telling you,
don't.
we're tired of you guys throwing rocks and hiding your hands
And
like
we
little victims.
tired of you
You cannot say.
FBAs too, you know.
All right, well, that's the
Mister,
problem.
let's
That's
just
why we're
find
going
let's
to
let's
continue
just
calling
find
you
a
guys
medium ground.
monkeys.
Let's just find a
We're
medium
going to
ground.
continue
Mister,
calling
I
you
don't want
guys
you to take
African
a
booty scratchers.
hold on,
If you
Mister.
act like a tether, we're going to call you one.
Okay, I'm a proud tether. I stand 10 toes down. I'm a American. I'm a
And
tethered
so be it.
American. Okay. Okay.
There
So
it
now
is.
hang out, relax. Let somebody else talk. All right, so they
You
can
sound
might
like a
fill you
pale
in.
face.
We got other Black Americans on here too.
Go ahead.
Okay, that
I'll
don't
go
have
mute.
anything to do with FBAs. Okay, Mike, go ahead, and then Jay, and then Nagwal, and then Trouble. Mike, go ahead.
Mr. Bell to ask. Listen, man. I think I might be. I'll put it to you like this. Me and Tariq are close in age, maybe a year or two difference. So when I was a kid, these terms we did use these terms as a kid, and I'll tell you from my experiences, our communities were a little bit different with Africans. We've when I was a kid, we really didn't get along with the Africans, and we kind of sensed that they had something against us, but we couldn't figure out exactly why. And sometimes there would be some hostile engagements and stuff like that where we fell out or whatnot. And it's always been a back and forth since I've known about it in the 80s. Okay. And so this hostility isn't new. This is just a new chance for it to bubble over and turn into something else, and it shouldn't. But there's reasons for that. We'll get into that. So no, these terms aren't new. This isn't this isn't new hostility. It's been brewing for a long time, and since we've been in separate communities for a while, we've never really saw eye to eye. At least from where I'm at geographically, I can't speak for Nagwal or Jay or anybody else on the panel, but from here regionally, this is old business with a new face on it.
I
Okay,
asked 3 times and they said it's
I'm gonna
new.
mute
They
up.
said it's post 2020. They said this is Tariq
No,
Nasheed.
I clearly gave
that's
you
not
the
it, boss.
movies.
Yeah, it changed. It's not the
It's
same
okay.
things that I heard
Yeah,
like in high school.
Yeah, but a movie is a silly movie. That's not a real.
No. Okay. Hold on,
You can't
Mister.
blame a
Well,
movie
no.
for.
Well,
Mr.
it
Bell.
came from somewhere. It came from somewhere.
I think the movies
No.
just the movies just show what it was happening, on the streets, or in our communities. You know what I mean? The tension, right, about immigrants in general. I gave you a clear distinction of how immigrants have been hated on since YT people were hating on immigrants. So it's nothing new, like Mike said. But you are young, and I'm going to give you
What, hate on what?
on immigrants, Mister. But Jay, go ahead, Jay. Mister,
Yeah,
please.
you can't elaborate on that because you know
Okay,
you'll lose.
Mister. Maybe my friends can.
No, yeah,
okay?
I let the next person go ahead and speak because
Yeah, I'm tired of these immigrant FBAs coming to my land, and tethering off my shit. I swear to God, these guys, they have no respect for the indigenous people of this land, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm an actual indigenous of this land, boy. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't come here and start telling me about what you think is right for this. I'm an actual practicing Nahual shaman of this land. I'm the holy person of this land. You know what I'm saying? And here you are trying to tell me that I'm some
Can
fucking
I ask you a
immigrant.
question? Can I ask you a
No,
question?
I don't need no question from you, boy. You just sit your ass
Yeah,
down
because
and
you know you'll get
listen to
white.
me.
You know you'll get white.
Hey, let him land, Mister. I gave you an opportunity. Let him land, Mister. If
He
you're
has
willing
everything
to
to say, but he's
stand through
like
the goal,
21 years old. His balls barely dropped. And he's trying to tell me, an indigenous, that I'm an immigrant. Man, you need to shut the fuck up. Land it.
all right. But trouble. Be a new trouble. You're
So this
next.
is a therapy session.
Was
Okay,
that
go
Nah,
ahead.
Mister. You can respond to everybody. You have to wait your turn, brother.
It's not
Can I
Okay?
therapy.
respond
We're
to him
having a
now? Can I respond to him
conversation.
now?
We're not going to be here to heal you. You've already been
You guys are doing the
indoctrinated, so
crying
it's
now.
okay.
Who's
Trouble. I
crying?
ain't crying.
I'm
Trouble.
not
Go
crying about
ahead.
anything.
Go ahead, sister.
Go ahead, let
Um,
Trouble cry.
it's
Go ahead, Trouble.
I'm not crying. I don't care about any of your vitriol. I've never given any of you vitriol, so I don't really give a damn about any of this. Some of this stuff was different. Like in high school, it wasn't really like I've never really heard anybody call me like an African like booty scratcher or like tether or anything like disrespectful. But I was like othered all the time. I was always like, you're not black, you're something else. You're not black, you're Muslim. You've got white hair. That type of thing. But like I just took it. I didn't really acknowledge any of it. But now I wouldn't even say it's like in real life, but
Mm.
in these conversations online, it's like go back to Africa, you know, y'all are pirates and all that stuff. But again, like I don't care. I
Right.
just think it's interesting.
Mm.
All right,
But can I
Mr. Bell, I
respond to
will
it?
give you a chance to respond to everything that's been said so far, and then we're gonna have an open panel, and then after the open panel for like 3 minutes, I'll go ahead and introduce my guest. Go ahead.
Oh, me?
Yeah, can
Yeah,
we
go ahead,
introduce the
Mr.
new
Bell.
person though first, real quick? Caleb.
Okay, go ahead,
What's
Jay.
up?
Yeah,
What's up?
Caleb. Welcome to the panel. Can we get your age, ethnicity, where you're from?
My name is obviously Caleb. I'm 20 years old and I am Ethiopian.
You are who?
Ethiopian.
Oh, Ethiopian. Okay. Welcome to the panel. So yeah, now, Mr. Bell, you can go ahead and respond to whatever you want to respond to.
All right, so I'll go in a row. So Trouble, if you ever heard the sentiments of like go back to Africa, that's because you probably were saying something that was you deserve to get that type of language.
No, I
But
don't
for the
talk to
most
people
part,
like that.
yeah, I'm pretty sure you probably were antagonizing somebody for them to say go back to
No, you
Africa.
don't know me, and you don't know
But secondly,
the way I carry myself. So your assumption's wrong.
yeah, we have, and you don't know my people, obviously, but we have some, xenophobic people. But for the most part, Black Americans actually support immigrants. With most
I
of
never
us,
said that they didn't.
yeah. So if you want to talk about the very few minority and make up for all FBAs or generalize us like that, that's wrong. But secondly, a lot of Somalians, right? Y'all tell us, and please back me up here if you're going to be truth about your people.
Yeah,
Y'all
listen,
tell us
listen.
that y'all don't go by the social construct created by the white T man of black. We're
Right.
Somalian. We don't
Right.
call ourselves black because we're really not black like that.
It's
We're East
Somali.
Africans from Somalia.
What's that have
Y'all
to do?
told us that
What's that have to do with the conversation? Listen,
because you said that Black Americans othered you guys. You guys always othered yourself, and you blame white supremacists for saying that we don't identify and go into boxes and categories like you white T Americans tell you
hold
guys
on.
do. Is that true or false?
Hold on. All through like my early years through high school, I was black. I consider myself black, and I just started saying Somali at a certain point in my life when I realized there were people that considered me black, there were people that didn't consider me black, but I would never be in a situation where I would be left embarrassed because I identified as black and somebody othered me.
Right.
I don't really see an issue with you being FBA and me saying Somali. Like, that's just what we identify as. But there are FBAs that take that personally. I don't know why. And it's confusing because you made that point, like, you're othering yourself, and like is that supposed to be the justification for other people othering me? Like, I don't get it. And then you guys turn around and call us tethers. It's very
I'm trying to
confusing.
figure out, is it offensive for you guys to other yourselves or for us to other you
Well, I am a Somali. Like, I'm Somali. If I say I'm Somali,
right?
does
So
that
you're
mean I'm
othering
not
yourself.
black?
So you just earlier in the space when I let you speak for a whole minute, right? You were saying that Black Americans were other you. So
Right.
what's wrong with us othering you if you are an other to you? Like to
Listen,
yourself, you're
Somali
Somali.
in America is considered black.
He
Right.
clearly said they called her booty scratcher. You know what I mean? Or no, wait, she
No,
didn't
she
say
said
that.
they didn't
No,
call
no,
her.
they didn't
You're
call
right.
me.
You're right. You're right. My
They
bad.
called
My
me
bad.
like they said I was like something else. You know, that they would be like, "You're not black" or something else, and I'd be like, "My folks are from Africa." Like,
Right. So
I'm
again,
confused.
Bell, I
And
will
these are
ask
like my
Bell.
own friends. These are like
Let
my
me
own
let me
black friends.
No, let her
let me
finish
go, Bell.
herself. She's grown. Don't interject for her, please.
Listen,
Mr.
relax. We're just having conversation. There's no
Mr.
need to
thinks that
pretend
he
to have
runs
You're not
this
her
shit
lawyer.
right
You're
now.
not her
You
lawyer,
don't
bro.
run
Well, he's a
shit. You don't
bully,
run
bro. He's a
America. You
total
Okay,
never run
lawyer. Go
America.
ahead, lawyer. Go
But
ahead.
go ahead,
Speak for
Trouble.
her,
I'm
lawyer.
gonna let her land before I put
my
belt to
my
ass on Mister.
Go ahead,
my
lawyer. Go ahead, lawyer. Go ahead. Speak for her.
my thing is like, I know we have like our problematic folks, but like when I'm in a situation where I see Somalis like being out of pocket, I say something to them. I just call them out, you know?
Mhm.
I don't turn around and start talking to you crazy, somebody I don't know, because another FBA talked to me crazy. Do you understand?
I just wish you would give us that same grace because understand that a Black
That
American.
is grace.
No, I'm
I'm
asking. So growing up, or even now, right, you might encounter some people on there who are frustrated with a lot of immigrants disrespecting us, and they might indiscriminately attack a Somalian, right? But understand that most of us didn't vote for Trump. 85% of the vote Democrat. We vote for immigration. We have laws that benefit all people. We want immigration, overall speaking, historically speaking. So if you have a few people on there who are derogatory, being mean to y'all, please do not categorize that and generalize FBAs like that, because we don't do that to y'all.
Listen, we're just talking about like the lives and the chats and stuff that we see. It's a lot. I would say it's the majority. I didn't say it was all. I said it's the majority, and I didn't say it's Black Americans. Do you understand?
Okay.
So it
Okay,
doesn't
so I'm
mean it's
gonna
you. It's the majority, like on TikTok, on lives, and I think you know that because I've seen you in a bunch.
so do you understand that I can use that same logic for you, right? That
It's
most
fine.
Somalians on here tell me that
That's
I have nappy hair and a shotgun nose, and tell me that I have no culture. That I can say most of you guys say that,
that's
right? That would be
fine.
ignorant.
I'm
All
not
right,
gonna sit here and
all
argue
right. So
with
I'll
you
play
about it.
ignorant with you then. Most of you guys are racist too, xenophobic. Okay, next person.
So, Mr. Bell, we're only talking about this platform.
Like
We're
what
not.
page?
She's not talking about everywhere in the world when
Yeah,
you get into the
Clubhouse,
street, right?
Instagram. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, just the social media. I mean, that's
Like I don't know why you're so defensive.
the issue is, Mr.
No,
Bell,
I'm going to
is
use
there's
your
a
logic against you. I'm going to use your logic
but you're
against
not
you.
using it
Most
against her
Somalians are
because she's not
xenophobic.
disagreeing with you. And my point is that
He's
there is
generalizing.
there is a situation, and we're on these platforms. There is a tendency of people who self-identify as FBA to have negative rhetoric towards Africans. Not
Right.
all, but there are some. That's all she's saying. So you're not using anything against her because she's not disagreeing with you. If we're talking about
Right.
just the platform, the social media platform.
Right.
So
Now, if you're
she
extending
just
that
said she
beyond
just
this, then
said
that's a different
most.
story.
She just said most FBAs.
On this platform.
All right, so most Somalians on this platform are xenophobic and attack Black Americans.
Right.
Okay.
But
All right,
the
so
thing
fine.
is
Okay,
I
so
didn't get up
Imano,
here.
Imano. So
I didn't
if
get
a
up
Black
here
American
and
attacks you, if an
I'm not
FBA attacks
Somali.
you, understand.
Trouble. Let Jay talk to him. Let him.
Go ahead.
Because Mr. Bell, again, you are trying to generalize all African people,
I'm
specifically
holding up a mirror
Somalis.
to her.
Well,
no,
what
you
you're
tried to say
doing
you
is the
tried to say
same thing
we
you're asking
deserved
her
it.
not to do. Mr.
I'm
Bell.
not.
So,
I'm matching her energy. That's what FBAs are doing.
well, don't
When you
match.
say we have
She,
shotgun
she,
noses, we're gonna call you a monkey.
she
It's the
never
same
called.
thing.
Right,
She
but did
never
she
called
say
you.
that to you,
She
Mr.
never
Never
Bell?
said that
said
to
that to
you.
you.
She
That's
didn't
the
say
She
that
never
part.
to
And
said
then
you.
that
he
to
got
you.
up here and he started with y'all are crying. Y'all need a
I
No,
know.
therapy
don't
session.
Trouble.
individualize it now. Don't
What are you talking
individualize it now.
about?
When you get
Hold on.
individualize it for
Trouble. I
FBAs.
want Jay to talk to Mr. Bell.
Well,
Okay,
because
Jay,
Mr.
finish
Bell,
your
you have to
thought.
understand when we're talking about FBAs, we're talking about the collective on this
And
app.
I'm talking
Now,
about the collective of Somalis.
right, but then you're not addressing the collective. You are talking to Trouble now and asking her specific
No,
questions about
I'm talking to
herself.
her for her people. She's representing Somalis. I'm representing FBAs.
So you're saying,
What?
yeah, well,
Here we
Yeah,
go.
I'm matching her energy.
anyone
I'm
on
literally.
here. I don't think anyone on here can represent a group, a collective. I think you can
You
speak for
can
yourself.
speak
Now,
for him, no?
if
Yeah,
you want to
speak for
speak, if you want,
yourself.
yeah, Mr. Belt, if you want to talk, we can have conversations about FBAs in general or Somalis in general, but no one on this panel can speak for an entire group.
Right. You got up here and defended
Yeah,
them,
but you
and
can
I not
generalize
once
though.
got
She's
here.
been generalizing.
Listen, I didn't get up here and defend Somalis, but you got up here and defended FBAs. That's the
But you got up
difference.
here generalizing my people, so I
No, I
generalized
didn't.
yours.
I
You
spoke
did. You
very
just said most
specifically about
FBAs.
FBAs, most
Again,
of the
on this
FBAs on
platform.
TikTok.
Woman, you know I'm writing down what you're saying,
Rebel.
right?
Well, look,
You
That's
said
fine.
if
You're not
most FBAs.
comprehending.
Hold on,
You're not
hold on. Wait, I
comprehending.
do want to do this before we go back and forth. Jay, land your point with Bell.
You're just
I'm gonna let
contradicting
Trouble.
yourself, Trouble.
I'm
No,
gonna
you're
let
not
Trouble. Don't fall for his little trigger words. Okay, Jay, land your point. I'll let Mike speak, and
Well,
then
no, I
Trouble.
didn't really have a point. I'm just trying to get clarification here because it's pointless to keep going back and forth if she's not even saying what he's saying. She's saying it's like Mr. Bell, you're straw manning. You're attacking something she's not talking about.
I'm not straw manning at all. She's moving the goalposts.
No, she's not moving the goalposts because
He
she's
got
not
up here.
speaking about we're only again, I'm only say it one last time and that's it. I'm not gonna go back and forth. We're only talking about this social media platform, period. We're not talking about anything outside of this.
So am I.
Well, okay, but you say so am I, but then you start talking about something in general.
I made that clear. Okay,
so I just want to make sure we're clear about that.
Let's be
Okay,
frank.
yeah,
You
we're
got
clear
up
about
here
that.
with you got up here
We're
with the
clear.
sole purpose of defending FBAs. That was your intent. You didn't care to listen. You automatically made assumptions. You just came up here to defend. You called out Somalis. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm not going to defend them. But you got up here ready to defend. You already called us crybabies. You said this was a therapy session. Listen to the tone of your voice. You're really worked up, and it's just a conversation.
Yeah, that's throwing rocks and hiding your hands. You guys are taking turns ripping on my lineage, and then when I respond
We're
to it, you
not
act like
ripping
I'm
your
the person
lineage.
attacking you. That's just you playing victim. But next question.
See,
There he goes, talking
who's the
about
one
throwing a
crying?
rock.
Who's the
You
one
guys are
crying here?
taking turns shitting on my lineage,
The
and then when I
dog.
It's not
respond
a
to you,
lineage,
It's
my
not.
boy.
I'm talking
Yeah.
about
see, that's
people.
disrespectful.
I'm
That's
talking about
disrespectful.
people that are
Only a
alive
hit
right
dog
now.
hollers.
People that
Okay.
are alive right now on TikTok. What are you
Again,
talking about?
yeah. Again, here I'm gonna let Mike speak. I do want to say something though about this. You're not black thing, right? Before you speak about this, man, you're hyper focused in American politics, how American people identify themselves. We're hyper focused on race in America, right? Color is not a thing around the world. You know, people identify with their nationality, with their heritage, with their tribe, with their lineage, right? And so before they introduce themselves, how they present themselves is you're not going to hear black, right? That's an American thing, right? So you have to be sensitive about that. On top of that, we're also going to call out all the coonery, all the buffoonery on each side. You know, we're going to hold the people accountable on our side about how they treat Black Americans when they come here and stick their business in Black American business without knowing the context of what Black Americans have gone through in America. You know, you think we don't know what we know, and then on top of that, my brother, you're also going to deal with Black Americans or Black MAGAs, if not FBAs, that always repeatedly tell us not to identify with Black. We're not Black. We're not Black American. We're not Black this. You African, you foreigner, you a tether. So on either side, we're fucked. We're damned if we do, we damned if we don't. So you got all these different pressures working at the same time. I'm gonna go ahead and let Mike speak, and then we're gonna go to Nagwal and back to Trouble, and then we're gonna introduce the new guest. Go ahead, Mike.
Mr. Belt, first of all, I want to say I understand your frustration, but you humbly, I'm gonna say that I think you're a little bit relatively new to the game, and I'm gonna say this to you, man. So, you know, you already know what kind of politics we deal with when it comes to propaganda. Anytime you look on the news,
Hello?
Mike, you cut out again,
Yeah.
bro. We can't hear you. If you're talking, we can't hear you.
the Belt's ass. That's my name. This is what I do, and you know, I'm an upstanding person. You know, I have nothing to do with those people, even though there may be some sort of political or ethnic association with them. I am not those people, right? Well, it's the same with African peoples. They're not all the same, and you know that, and even though there are quite a few that have some ill intentions and whatnot, there's some that don't quite get down like that. I work with a couple myself. They don't necessarily identify as FBA or Americans or whatnot. They got homage to Cameroon and all that and whatnot, but they don't go out of their way to, you know, deal us any harm or deal their coworkers any harm. You know, as a matter of fact, you know, we're quite close. So for you to have the frustration you do, I think it would be legitimately aimed at the people who are responsible for antagonizing you as opposed to generalizing people that you don't know. Because just like you being unique with your upstanding characteristics, there are other people of different ethnicities that have upstanding characteristics about themselves and can stand up for themselves, having the moral rights to do so by having done no harm to anybody else. And this isn't defending African people or any other foreigners or whatnot. This isn't defending them. This is just to say that, you know, just like you individualize and have a moral compass about yourself, there are other people that are outside of FBAs that also do too. And it would behoove you to just give them a fair chance.
But here's the thing, Mike. Here's the thing, Mike. This entire time, I literally said I'm going to play devil's advocate. I'm going to use your logic against you. I literally said that me personally, I don't generalize Somalians, but I said since she's going to do that, and she specifically said most FBAs, you just generalize the entire lineage. Or even if you want to say it's a hate group, right? You just generalize a lot of people, right? So I'm going to take the same logic and use it against you. That's literally what I did. I don't generalize all Somalians. I know most Somalians don't hate black Americans. I know that. But I'm saying that since you want to use that logic against me, I'm going to hold up a mirror to her. That's literally what I did. That's not actually my belief system. I just use her logic against her.
Okay, I get what you're saying. So I'll say this: I win more arguments by asking questions rather than making statements. Because what'll happen is you'll be going back and forth with your anecdotal experiences versus theirs all day, and this is why the panel kind of got a little bit of discourse to it, because everybody is jumping in, reinforcing their position with myopic point of views. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
As
that's them
opposed
doing
to
that. That's them
well,
doing that.
I
They
mean,
keep
we all
saying,
we
well, I'm not all Somalians. I can't speak for all Somalians. You can't speak for all FBAs. You guys are making anecdotal arguments and saying that you encountered a few people on TikTok that's saying derogatory things. That's anecdotal. But you guys are doing that. I'm just holding up a mirror to you guys, and you're making you look stupid.
well, it's okay to talk about anecdotal experiences as long as it's
No,
not
it's not.
a
It's low IQ.
sweeping
You
general.
can't do that. It's low IQ.
Well, what I'm saying is it's all right to talk about your anecdotal experiences. Like for you, it's possible that you may have suffered some sort of victimization by people who are foreign. That's not your people. Let's say there was a group of Africans that called you out of your name and mistreated you. You have the right to talk about that experience. What you don't have the right to do is just to say that
Yeah, I wouldn't
all
racialize it
Africans
though.
out. What I'm saying is you wouldn't have the right to say that all Africans outside of them are the same way. You get what I'm saying? So it's okay to talk about those 5 people that hurt you, but it's not all right to say those other 38 million people are susceptible to giving you the same treatment, because that might not be true. And so I agree with you in the sense where generalizing that all Africans or all Black Americans are bad. We can't do
jump
that.
Not
in
even
here?
all.
Talk
Just
about an
saying most.
individual experience.
Even
Can I
saying
jump in
most.
here?
Hold
Real
on, wait.
quick.
We got an order that he got.
Can I respond to the native guy?
Trouble has he's talking about her. Trouble
Yeah.
is my mod. Go
Real
ahead.
quick, with context, this conversation was about who is calling us African booty scratchers, who is saying go back to Africa, whatever those things were that were on the prompt, and we answered FBAs. And we even clarified majority of FBAs on this app. It's not white people saying that to us. It's not Black Americans saying that to us. It's not Asians. It is a specific group of people. And you can say I'm generalizing or not, but I've seen you in plenty of these lives and like panels, and you can see them in the chat. It's majority of the people in the chat making these comments. You can deny it if you want to, but that's just a fact.
I'm not
And
denying
I
it.
never insulted your lineage. I never made mention of your ancestry or
Anecdotal.
anybody you descend from. I talked about a specific group of people that are online and alive today and using this app called TikTok.
Ma'am, to save my breath, please take
You're
what
not
you just
saying
said.
anything of substance. I'm just
Ma'am,
gonna leave it
please
here. I'm not
take
gonna argue with
everything you
you.
just said,
I'm not
right?
gonna argue. I'm not
And
gonna argue.
replace it. No, take everything you just said and replace it with Somali. That's my point.
That's fine. That's fine.
You love to
Good
do that,
job.
bro. You love to vice
You
versa.
can do that.
No,
I
you
can hold
can't.
up a
You know
mirror
why,
to
Bell?
you.
Because you came up and started. You're the one that made the claim. All right.
Bro,
You're the
look
one
at
that
the
asked the
panel.
questions. Who's doing that? Knowing damn right and well who's doing it.
Yeah,
So
you're
You can't
just
throw rocks and
disingenuous.
hide your hand. Look at what
no,
the
I'm gonna
host
Just
throw.
told
I'm gonna
you.
throw the
disingenuous.
rock and not hide myself. I'm gonna be 10 toes
Okay, then
down.
stand on the
All right.
post
Well,
that you're
I'm gonna stand on.
posting.
I'm gonna stand on it for sure. You can
You
come
got
after me.
you got an FBA
You can
looking to
come after
boot.
me. You don't have to
Stop
come after
playing victim,
trouble.
bro.
You don't have
Stop
to
playing
come after
victim.
women. You don't have to come after.
Yeah, you're getting walked
you-
down.
you-
You're getting walked down. You
No,
look
you're
stupid
gonna
You're
now.
not making
you,
sense.
you're gonna get dragged. Okay,
You're
sooner
getting
or
dragged
later.
right now. Hope you're
You're
recording it.
not dragging anybody. You got up here and said we insulted your lineage. These are people that
Yeah,
are
what
alive right
lineage?
now.
We
You're
will
not
repeat
speak. You're
once
not. You're not on
again.
Earth
The
with
fact
us.
that you're denying my
You're
lineage
not
right
on
now
Earth
by
with
saying
Nah,
us.
you don't
FBA.
have one. It's not even legit.
Right, right,
There's
exactly.
no
Stop playing
FBA on no
victim then.
census. There ain't no
Yeah, crash
FBA on
out,
no.
crash out.
They ain't no FBA nowhere. All right, so
Bro, why
stop
don't you
it.
come back when your balls drop, bro? Why don't you do that? Do us all a favor.
Yeah,
Just come back when
start
your
the
balls
ad
drop.
hominem, start crashing out. You guys lost this argument.
Nah,
Bro,
Mister,
hey,
you don't
Jay,
have
Jay,
anything to hold. You have
Because
no
I'm not letting you
foundation.
guys
You
play
don't have a
victim. I'm not
You
letting
don't
you
have
guys
a
play victim
foundation.
about your
I'm
people.
You
not
don't
playing
have a
victim about anything.
foundation
I've
in
never
shit.
talked
All
crazy to
right.
anybody.
Yeah, start
hey, Jay.
crashing out. Just
Jay,
share
you
your real
remember
hatred
before
for
when I
us.
said that I was a poet
Yo,
on
Mike
this
P,
app?
Mike P, you see it crashing out now, right?
people's reflections, and this boy just said the same
Yeah.
thing just a second ago, and he can't
All
take
right,
his own
all right, native
reflection.
guy,
He
native guy.
started
Let
to
me ask
crash
you a
out because his
question.
balls ain't dropped. He hasn't
All
figured
right,
it out yet.
native guy.
I'm just
Stop the
mirroring
ad
your
hominems.
reflection, bro. I'm the
All right,
stillest
stop the
image
ad
that you could
hominems.
ever
Dude,
see
calm
of
down. Let's
yourself
stop the ad hominems,
possible.
okay? Let me
What?
ask you a question. Let me
No,
ask you a
no, you
question.
ain't got no right to ask me any questions, bro. You're the tether here. I'm the indigenous. You don't know who you're
All right,
talking to.
let me ask you a
You're the
question,
tether,
sir.
bro. So just accept
Please,
it. You're a little
please,
boy.
Dave.
Your balls haven't dropped. You don't have an opinion. And if you had any
Host, can you mute
confidence in
him,
your
please?
actual
Host, you
identity,
gonna let him
then
crash
you
out?
wouldn't be taking any offense to anybody making any accusations. A person who is confident
You're throwing
and
ad
knowledgeable
hominems.
about
You're
their
crashing
identity
out.
does not have an
You're
effect
upset right
when
now.
people
You're
start
crashing
making
out.
accusations. But it's
You're
obvious how
muted.
insecure you are
Why
because
you muting me
everything is
now?
an accusation to you,
He's
and you're so insecure. You got to strike back and make
yeah.
sure
You're
I'm gonna
talking
start
over
kicking you.
people.
Crashing.
but you're not.
You don't have no.
Yeah, start kicking me now because you guys
No,
lost this
I'm not
whole.
gonna kick you. You
Kicking
can
you,
stay.
man.
You
Mr.
can
You
hang
Belt,
feel
out here.
kicked, bro. You
Mr.
ain't
Stop it.
made
Belt,
You
fun
gotta
to
calm
You
happen.
gotta
down,
stop it.
just
bro.
be respectful. You
Calm
can't just
down,
come up
Mr.
here.
Bro,
Belt.
he's throwing
Yeah,
Mr.
ad.
Belt,
you're the one
Mr. Belt,
crashing
if
out
we
because
mute you,
you can't stay
ad
off mute.
Mr. Belt,
You can't
just stay on
stay
mute
off.
for a minute.
You
Stay on
can't
mute for
stay
a minute,
muted
bro.
at all.
I
throwing ad
literally said that to
hominems.
my boy Jay up
Exactly,
there.
crashing
I
out,
told him
crashing
that I
out.
was a poet and I
Let
reflect
let
people's
let other
reflections.
people speak on the panel, Mister. This is not all about you. I thought you
Yeah,
knew.
but have some respect.
All right, well, stay muted.
Have some decorum, Aztec.
Aztec.
Oh
This is
my
what I'm
Have some
goodness,
saying.
here we
What
decorum.
you
go.
were saying,
See,
I
bro,
didn't
Aztec, he
insult
didn't
you.
Bro,
I
call
why
didn't
you
you
even
throwing
mention you not
anything.
one
homonyms? Why
time.
you throwing
I didn't
Here
even.
we
homonyms out there?
go.
I didn't even curse at you.
Mr. Belt
I
You're
didn't even
actually
use one. I didn't
defaulting
use
to
one
what we
word
were
for.
talking about.
I could have taken offense to that, but because
I
I'm
didn't.
confident in my identity and I know who I am, it makes no effect on me. You, on the other hand, someone just says FBA and you start going off as though your whole life has been
I bet I
turned to
can.
shambles. You're so
I bet I can
sensitive in your
touch.
position because you're unaware
I
of
bet
your
I can.
identity. It has no substance. That is your problem. Come back when your balls drop, bro.
Mr.
Crashing
Belters,
out,
you do
crashing out,
realize
man. Stay muted.
What
You
what
crashing
are
out.
they talking
Crashing out,
about?
bro.
It
Stay
doesn't
FBA
make
is
muted.
any sense.
relative.
I want to hear
FBA
from
is
Caleb
relatively
because
you
Caleb
do
haven't
no.
spoken. Caleb's been on
Oh,
live
he
for a
hasn't
minute
spoken yet.
and
Go
he
ahead,
hasn't
Caleb.
spoken. So, Caleb, you are introduced yourself. Thanks again for coming. Would you like to add to the conversation, please?
What up? What up?
Yeah, did you want to add to the conversation or are you just okay?
I feel like the live just shifted away from the prompt a little bit, so I don't really have anything to add right now.
Do you have
Okay.
anything to add on the
Actually,
prompt? No, go
no,
ahead.
actually, Kev, did you want to answer the questions on the prompt?
On the prompt, sure, yeah.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah,
seen
go
I've
ahead.
seen a lot of FBA people calling me tethers and as what's the where did the Somali girl go? What she said, African booty scratcher. If I've been called that multiple times, and I don't want to generalize, but I'm going to generalize. Majority of them say this stuff. It's majority of them, and I know Mr. Belt's gonna lie and say it's not all of them, but it's majority of them.
I didn't say that.
That's not what you
Again,
said earlier, Unc. That's not what
let
you said.
him land, bro. Caleb, go ahead, bro.
That's all about it.
That's it. That's all you got. All right.
Yeah.
All right. We gotta introduce Tyrone too. Tyrone, introduce yourself, Tyrone, and then go ahead. Respond to him.
What's going on, Nagu? Tyron Leung from Charlotte, North Carolina. To answer your prompt, is it rejecting African just externalizing the same identity crisis biracials internalize? I believe it's not because, for one, we got our own ethnogenesis within the United States. Like, there's no going back to Africa lineage because scholars, for example, you got Clarence Walker, you got E. Franklin Frazier.
Tyrone, I'm sorry to cut you off, but who is we? Are you an FBA?
I don't believe in that term FBA. I can
Okay,
divorce.
so I'm only
Tariq
strictly
Nasheed.
talking about FBAs, my
All
brother.
right, so to describe it, because it aligns with the indigenous paradigm, I already know what it is. So you can't divorce it from the indigenous paradigm or people that want to claim to be African descent. So talking from a scholarly position, if you pulled up books like E. Franklin Frazier or Clarence E. Walker, We Can't Go Home, or any of these people that actually do deep dives within Black American genealogy, or David Eltis' own numbers about the transatlantic slave trade, we can't just claim some African identity because, for one, we weren't given any autonomy to choose for ourselves. Europeans forced this African label onto us because they didn't want us to be here, especially those that were already free and did not experience the bullwhip lash across our backs that were up in the north or some parts of the south. Those individuals got to experience certain type of freedoms and privileges that other Black Americans that were enslaved and in chains didn't get to experience. And these YT people did not want those individuals over here and wanted to immigrate them to Africa as under the guise of repatriating and expatriating these people to long lost relatives that they were kidnapped from. But in actuality, these Black Americans that assumed African identity via royal memes or having a vague inclination of coming over here in a slave ship and just generalizing blacks as a whole with this story of all slaves coming over here from Africa. These people did not go back to Africa as looking for these relatives. They went there trained as missionaries and to Christianize indigenous Africans into the Eurocentric way of living and gentrifying these people into Europeans' way of life and preparing for the scramble of Africa. That's the main concern of why Liberia and Sierra Leone was created and why many of these Africans were being mistreated by Black American returnee expats and why African locals themselves were destroying these people's, colonies and usurping and having coups with, these returnee expats, right? And so this biracial internalized what's the guy's name? Willie Lynch syndrome. We know that the character did not exist, but some of these archetypes came off of hurt people such as the 5 civilized tribes mistreating their Black indigenous peoples or Negro appearing Mongol style indigenous peoples, mistreating them with this white T color caste system, and they internalized that and turned that onto the darker non-reservation Negroes that were enslaved by YTs on a plantation and assumed that they came from Africa. They tried to distance themselves once things changed over into like Emancipation Proclamation, and that continued into the 1900s. So some aspects, yes, but not fully, because we got documented history of being indigenous to this land and that we cannot really verify scientifically African proof. If proximity to whiteness affects biracials, why would proximity to MAGA affect FBAs? I think it's not just FBAs. I think it's also on the African side or the Caribbean side, because they come over here and identify with MAGA as well. They push alt-right talking points and we was Kang memes to mock and ridicule Black Americans, to act like we have a identity crisis and push the stereotype that Blacks are infantile and we can't think for self, do for self, and we're shiftless and lazy and all this other stuff, when it's the exact opposite. And it's projection as well, because many of these people that come here and interact with Western culture and assimilate to it, many of these people fled from, their own problems in their own country and refused to fix the problems over there in their mother country, right?
Okay. All right,
So
Tyrone.
it's
Tyrone,
basically the same thing.
I know you want to convert the FBA brother to the American Indian side. I get it. All right. What's your issue with FBAs?
So my issue with FBA, they basically try to steal from the American Indian paradigm, and they're trying to ride the coattails of this Pan-African wave, and you can't serve two masters. You have to pick a struggle. And this man is not being serious with the indigenous paradigm. He just wants to bully Africans and bully Caribbeans rather than sticking to his lakes and rivers he's used to with this Cometian and Moorish stuff that he was pushing for decades, right? Or relationship advice. And I yield the mic.
Okay, Tyrone. I swear to God, what you doing? Okay, bro. Okay, you saved yourself. I swear to God, Tyrone. And here again, we're not saying that a lot. I mean, let's look at the YT man and who's influencing all of this. I always like to look at who's the who's the one with the strings, you know? Who's the puppet master? You know, when we come to identity, I can agree with you on some aspects of that. The thing I'm always held up about is about how FBAs tiptoe around. And Tyrone, I will say this, you know, FBAs do believe, you know, the FBA will call you a pretendian.
Yes,
Off the
they
bat.
do. I've seen it.
Exactly. So that's why I'm saying, like, don't try to convert this brother. There are Africans that are here that have been here, you know, not as long as, you know, even in chattel slavery, but they still have a connection. I'm afraid that, you know, those are the people that are insulted by you calling them American Indians because they know their lineage, they know where they come from, and they're proud, you know.
I don't think they
And
know it
and,
fully
and they have an affinity to America just as much as they have to Africa, you know, just because.
because my argument against that, where they have not actually done their genealogy, they just go off of vibes. And
Well,
if you
okay,
actually,
well,
Not
Tyrone,
vibes,
yes,
but
true. I think everybody has to do their own genealogy, right, to figure that out. So we have to give them a chance, and I can agree with that, you know, and but I'm saying people that come with an ideology already, I'm going to attach them to Africa because that's what they say, you know.
institutionalized.
Right. Well, regardless of the fact, that's on the website. They're African ancestry, African descendant, but they try to delineate from that because 500 years got in the way. And what I'm saying to you, Tyrone, if you want to switch it, if you want to say we got American Indians got shipped to Africa,
Yeah, that did happen.
okay, so Tyrone, with that, who's to say that they're not still attached to America just because they went to Africa?
That's a fact, because
So that's what
what
I'm
I'm
saying.
seeing with Tariq Nasheed, because he's trying to mix the dope with the indigenous paradigm and trying to poison
Right,
the well.
brother. He says Tyrone. He says he's native, right? He never will say indigenous because he will call you pretendian. Like he calls who was it, Callaway or whatever. You know,
Dean
they
Calloway.
they have beef amongst themselves, and I think Mike had said it before about it a little bit. I think
Mike mentioned it.
Yeah,
Mike mentioned
I
it
know
too.
about that whole situation.
Yeah. So
because
again, I'm just trying to. I'm not trying to be biased in any kind of situation. I am proud of African. I'm proud of my American side, Mexican side, right? But like, I'm just trying to cut it. What is it? Get it at the. What is that saying?
Nip it at the bud.
Nip it
So-
at the. Thank you.
so let me
Nagwal.
break it down with
Yes.
the
Nagwal.
You just let me
So
bias,
Tyrone,
bro. Let me
Tyrone,
bias.
because I know
Tyrone,
where you got it.
what I mean is I respect where you come from. I respect where you're going on, but when I'm addressing an FBA, you know what I mean? The last thing I want to hear is like I'm gonna hold him to what he says. So if he claims to be FBA, he has nothing to do with American Indian, you know? And then while he's talking shit to Africans, his ancestry, right? The one he claims to be, I'm gonna address that. You know what I mean? So that's where I stand. That's where I stand, Tyrone.
No, I like that. Even I step out of the way. I'm like, oh shit, Bob's about to engage at FBA. You know?
Nah, well, and
No,
I
it's like
ask
that,
you
man.
guys,
It's
and I
like
ask
that.
you guys on my panel, like, I don't have a problem with, you know, it's a set and setting kind of thing. You know what I mean?
No,
If we have a space for Nagwal, if I have a space for you, Tyrone,
Yeah.
you know?
You're very skillful at your managing FBAs. I've noticed it. That's why I step out the way.
Yeah, they do need to get the belt to ass. Like,
Yeah.
Well, it's because Vibes understands the inherent paradox in trying to claim FBA and indigeneity at the same time. It just doesn't work. You can't have it both ways.
That's why I literally hit the mute and I watch and learn. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, looks like the guy dropped though for some reason.
I know. I felt bad about that. Like
I know. I felt bad for Trouble because Trouble, I know I should have let it just go off, but I felt like the men had to get involved, you know, and try to help out too.
So
I mean,
to
she
explain this
does.
tether thing, initially it just only targeted Pan-Africanists that are of Caribbean descent, because these are the main ones trying to force this Africa on the Black Americans, and they themselves aren't trying to go over to Africa themselves, and it's just trying to lead a horse to water and trying to negate people's own lineage and heritage claims, because you know you have some individuals that's just using this Pan-African stuff to push, you know, like passport bro and investment schemes, and not genuinely trying to go there just to learn, just to reconnect. They just do this just for a scheme and to make money off of people. Just like the FBA ideology, it's just a scheme to make money rather than actually genuinely putting an effort to reconnecting with ethnic groups and tribes and trying to build with these people. It's not really doing what they are promising their congregation. They're just using it as a
Well,
plaything.
Tyrone, let me give you a little pushback, right? If there is any African people in America that we want to have, not to say to keep every melanated people outside of that, but if anybody, it's like we're calling on Africans. We're not calling on American Indians, right? So any African that has an affinity to Africa, right? Even Black Americans that are still proud to say African American because they found their ties back to Africa, whatever that means, right? It's just like a commonality of like kind of like what Black Power did in America, right? Within America, right? And trying to all Black Americans to come together. It's kind of like the same thing. Now, I can understand where if someone's trying to invalidate your experience and tell you you're an African and try to bring you into this fold, that's something different, right, Tyrone? I feel like if it's anything, it's trying to reconnect like the things that are missing too. How we were reclassified, as Negro as well, and we had tribes in Africa. We had languages, we had tribes, we had lineages back to Africa that we're trying to regroup to. And so I get what you're saying though, in the sense of they're trying to invalidate you, Tyrone, and trying to take that away from you instead of, and it puts you on a defense because instead of just being like, okay, well, you guys can recognize who I am and I can recognize who you are in Africa, and we can still see the similarities instead of seeing all the differences, but I understand what you're saying. I'm only speaking for African people,
That's fair enough. I'm not the one to tell anybody or take away their identity, but when it comes to historical knowledge and science, I have to beg to differ because we know that these mainstream scientists and we know that these historians have a certain narrative that they're trying to push.
We were talking about that yesterday, and you're 100% right with that. Even African being a term that we didn't subscribe to, right? As African, as people living in the continent of Africa, you don't subscribe to that just as much as you don't subscribe to Black,
Well, yeah, that's my 2 cents to weigh in on it because I wanted to see what the temperature was in the room because the dude he was being disrespectful to your panel and he had something to say, so I had to just weigh in my thoughts on the matter.
Well, I think the issue is that when people get on here, they've already been on other panels where they hear people speak, so they come on here assuming that we all are coming from a certain viewpoint, which we're not. And that was why I was trying to clear up the confusion. It's like, we're only talking about TikTok people here. We're not talking about the world. I'm not talking about everybody in the world because I've never met, like Vibes has even said, who on this panel has ever met anybody on the street that identified as FBA? Because I've met precisely 0 people.
Yeah, that exists on
the street. I'm talking on the street in real life. Yeah. When you walk down the street, have you have everybody say they identify as FBA? I've already talked to FBA about that, and then he was like, "Oh, well, they don't need to do that." And I'm like, "Well, what do you mean they don't need to do that? Either you are or you aren't." And that's my whole point. It's like it doesn't exist outside of this platform. They only exist online. So it's like when this dude is talking about it, I'm like, "What are you defending? Some online nonsense? Like, what are you talking about?" Like, Trouble is Somali. That's actually a thing that exists in the street. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, what are you even talking about? You're trying to attack her and these Somali people, and the Somali people are not there. If he's claiming Somali people are attacking FBA, then he's only talking about online. He ain't talking about on the street because nobody on the street even identifies as FBA. You get what I'm saying? You see the difference in that?
Yeah.
Like, we're not even talking about the same thing here. They're not even comparable. And that's the whole problem here. It's like, what are you people talking about when you start bringing up this FBA thing, and then you want to defend something that's just an online phenomena? Like, no, that's not how it works. But yeah, she held on. No, she held on.
Well, I want No Doubt to come up. Did No Doubt come up?
Yeah,
man?
somebody tell No Doubt to come up.
Come on,
Yeah,
man.
he said his girl or something.
Yeah,
He does
he's
not
being a
have.
little bish,
He
man.
does not have
He's
a girl,
trying to
bro.
blame it on
He's
his
not
lady.
walking.
All right. Your
No
girl
doubt the
walking
fat
you.
man is asking for your presence, bro.
Your girl is walking you. I get it. Anyways, man, no FBAs come up here. We already know. We and the ones that do
Right.
come up, we're not going to give them that floor the same way we gave belt to ass to Mr. Belt, okay? And that's why he fled. He fled. All right.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's why I'm saying that. So it's like, but see, at the same time though, and I didn't get to say it because he was just being so divisive. I know what he's talking about, but again, he's only talking about Africans on this platform. He's not. I doubt he ever was in the street and some African said something bad about a Black American. I highly
Yeah.
doubt he ever heard that.
And Mike, I
You
do
get what I
want to say,
mean?
yeah, and
Yeah.
Mike, I do want to say this to Mike. Mike, obviously, people do understand. Like I had reiterated to him before, how we do understand how immigrants, even Claude Anderson said that, how immigrants are pitted against Black Americans in America, and how the white T man does that on purpose.
Right.
I feel like them taking it out on the people that were invited here. Just like Donald Trump invited the Venezuelans, and now he's going at WAR with them. And then, it sets the precedence for them getting punched down on, even though Black Americans, even though they were the ones that fought for the civil rights, they weren't the gatekeepers. The first wave of immigrants after the civil rights were European immigrants, let alone the white T woman that was allowed to have rights after him. So again, they aren't the people that let the Somali people come here, use low income housing. They're not the white T landlords that let them move in there. They're not the one. They're not. They initiated it because the world was looking at America like, what pieces of shit you guys are. How are you treating Black Americans? And they were hyper focused on America about how they were treating Black Americans. And Black Americans had an opportunity to show them and stand up for themselves when the world was watching. That's why they were forced to do that. They didn't ask for permission. I mean, it was forced on those people. It was forced on white T Americans to change their ways. But again, the Black Americans had no say in immigration policy. They didn't sit in those seats. They didn't. They didn't have the key to that lock. And so when we talk about the last wave of immigrants that come to America, these African immigrants, right? Let alone the Mexican immigrants that the native people that they've already kicked out. We always have to remind ourselves about these white T people that they have no smoke for. FBAs do not have smoke for any of the white T immigrants that are here, the Polish, the French, so on, et cetera, man. They have no smoke for them on social media.
Not one cloud. No
That's what I'm
smoke at
saying.
all. Not one cloud.
That's what I'm saying, brother. So I'm hyper focused on them not having that smoke, So anyways, I understand that it's this current administration. That's why they got the balls that they have. That's why they have the goal to come up here and talk all the shit that they talk. And they think that they run, when they say they run America, you're not running shit. Yeah, we build everything, but who do we build it for? We build the White House, but why didn't we build the why didn't we paint the White House black? Why is it white? And who's sitting in the White House?
You built the house that you can't live in. Now make that make sense. You built the house, but you had to cut the grass for it, but you got to stay outside.
And it's not to undermine what has happened. We have to acknowledge it, and it's important to acknowledge what Black Americans has contributed to America. Everything that Black Americans have contributed has been destroyed, unfortunately. Black Wall Street, Lake Lanier, Oklahoma. There's still prominent, affluent Black neighborhoods. You got Atlanta, you got Baltimore. You got a lot of affluent places that people still can look at and see Black American achievement, even though all that, the wave of hate, the wave of Jim Crow, the wave of black codes, all that stuff, right, brother? So we will try to educate even African immigrants that come here thinking that they have that they can look down on Black Americans. Like, we will always correct that, but we can only do so much. I can't speak for all African people. I can't speak for the whole continent that comes here and does what they do. Most of the people that come here, they come here with the LLC. They come here with the businesses. Why they get citizenship quicker, They come here with good. Most of the immigrants that come here, they're fresh, so they got good credit, and they can build faster than someone that has already been here and been disfranchised, And we do have to be aware of that. But yeah, brother, I just wanted to say that.
All right, we got Peace. Peace, welcome to the panel. Can we get your age, ethnicity, and where you're from?
Hey, what's going on?
Yeah, can we get age? Yeah, go ahead.
My age is 30. I'm originally from West Africa, Guinea.
Okay. Welcome to the panel. Did you want to comment on anything you heard or answer the prompt questions? It's up to you.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it, I was looking at half of it, but yeah, is this a FBA panel or is it
Yeah, this is just a panel where we're exploring these concepts. So the topic is on the screen. I don't know if you can see it. It's sometimes a little blurry, but yeah, that's what we're
yeah,
talking about.
it's like a little blurry on my end.
All right, my fault. Yeah, just
Yeah,
like that.
I'll read it out to you, Peace. So,
Yeah.
do I follow, or Peace? You follow me? No, I don't follow. I think I've seen you on. I think I've seen you on different panels. Anyways, I am African, my brother. Oh,
I see mejor. Oh,
yeah, I'm African and American, Mexican. And then we got our indigenous brother Nagual from Americas as well, a shaman.
I go, Kevin.
And then we got Jay, he's a Black American. We got Mike, he's a Black American, American Indian as well. Go ahead, Peace.
I got you.
Yeah, I can read out the questions though if you want. We just dealt with the FBA, so we're a little hot right now.
Yeah, man. Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm not an FBA, so you don't have to worry about me. Let me see. Isn't rejecting Africans just externalized and same identity crisis by racial internalize? Well, I mean,
Peace. I do want to just say, we have different people up here that, I'm only concentrating on African people and comparing it to biracial people with the half black, half white, right? And I'm making a comparison with that, with how African people in America don't want to give credit or recognize their ancestry from Africa. They want to delineate so much so that they have don't have respect for African people, let alone African immigrants that come here. And if they claim to be African ancestry, African descendancy, why are they hating on African immigrants? So that's the kind of context to this.
Right. Yeah. That's what I don't really understand. And I try to anytime I get on the FBA platform, I try to sit there and really listen to figure out the way that they think, like why would you want to get rid of history that, that's built on, the effort and, that your ancestors had to go through, the pain and suffering your ancestors had to endure for you to come as far as now to be free, to have the capability of, of just being capable to build, to grow. And, you want to talk about delineating, which really doesn't make any sense because Africa right now it's an investment pool, to be honest. It's really an investment pool, but you have to know somebody to go down in to really explore all of the opportunities that's up there, But yeah, man, I mean, I try to let them know, man, this FBA stuff is really not helping anybody. You know, it's not helping. It's not helping both sides. That's like two brothers fighting, you know, and one of them unalive the other ones. You know, he's not gonna claim victory because he just lost a brother. You know, that's the way I think about it.
Right, right. And yeah, I have a post on my page talking about these European families going at war with one another, you know, and they're so accustomed to going at war, but you know, they're fighting their siblings,
Exactly.
and after fighting themselves, they come to a halt where they rep the elite of those families still like they make treaties or they figure something out, but they let everybody else that fought the war to be unalived. You know, so who even for those people, these families that rule are all playing a game with us. You know what I mean? And
Right.
and so their whole strategic thing is divide and conquer. You know, this is why they carved up Africa. This is why African people still they want to talk about going back and fixing our countries, not knowing how American imperialism works and how they destabilized a lot of places in Africa. Not only colonized and enslaved, but colonized in their mind. You know, to the point where the leaders are now um, the same puppeteers. You know that we see in American politics.
Right. You know, but the thing is, you know, Africa politics is deeper than you think. You know, uh, you will think like the president actually runs the country, but the president doesn't really run the country, man. So it's a lot of there's a lot of shadows, you know, dark shadows that you know that don't really show face, but actually run the country. So, like you said, yeah, it's a bunch of puppets, man. So African politics, man, is very, very, very like complicated and dark. That's why they practice a lot of nepotism, you know. So it's it's just not organized at all, man. So yeah, it's African politics, man. Yeah, I really don't have that much, trust in it. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
it's scary.
the same.
It's scary too. It's very
Yeah,
scary.
the same argument that Black Americans would say. They would say, "Well, we don't care about the government, but we love them enough to go against Africans because of the current administration and deport this and deport that and stand cold heartedly with this current administration with all this shit. This is why I can't stand them. You know."
You know, the thing is, right? I don't understand why they keep targeting the immigrants, though, man. I really don't know why. And they target the African immigrants. You know what I mean? And I'm just asking myself, like, hey, you know, and then they start saying, oh, you guys are taking the grants, you know, you guys are living on government assistance. Those are assistance that we should be. But from the outside looking in, you know, it's like Africans look when they come here, they see a lot of opportunities. Even like working at McDonald's, they take that as an opportunity, you know? They will work there and give it all they got, you know? Next thing you know, they become the manager. Next thing you know, next thing you know, they become like the area manager of that location, you know?
Bro, and Black Americans are still pissed off. They're like, those jobs should be for our high school kids for their first intern
Right.
job. Like, and you're like, what are you? They're mad at the grandma there working, the immigrant grandma. They're mad. And you're just like, whoa, man, like, no, you're taking shit too far. Like, there's plenty of jobs, you know, and now they have no excuse. Everybody's out, right? So let's see what happens now.
That's the thing, man. And they're gonna continuously and that's the thing, you know, it's like they're gonna continuously make excuses, but like that's up to them, bro. You know, like they don't understand America is a capitalistic country, man. It practice individualism. Like if you don't get it, if you don't go and get it, you're not gonna get it. You can sit down and complain all day. But if you don't go out there and work hard, like I'm a robotics engineer, so It's like I remember taking differential equations. Like I remember how hard it was, and I wanted to quit, but no, I sacrificed, man. I didn't go. I didn't. I wasn't going out. I wasn't drinking. I wasn't partying. I wasn't doing any of that. I was locked in. You know, you just have to dedicate. Some people. I'm not saying all, but some people they want to like do. They want to have the fun and do all of that and still get that. You know, still get that job or that money set of money that they want. It's like it don't work like that. You have to sacrifice a certain type of lifestyle in order to get where you want to be. You know?
Yeah, and I think also there's a selection bias here as well because people, like you talk about the Africans who come here and get successful, well, they left their country, right?
Yeah.
Most of them don't leave their country. So you're getting a select group of people who actually have that hustle mentality in the first place.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to go to Africa, the country in Africa, to find a bunch of people that are just as, not hustle mentality as Black Americans. And then there's Black Americans who are also hustlers and do that too. There's people in America, like you said, because this is a capitalistic country, that's kind of like how you have to be successful in any way, regardless of your ethnic background.
Exactly.
So, whether or not it's FBA, whether or not it's Nigerian, whatever it is, right? So that's why, because you know how there's this like, well, at least in the United States, there's this model minority myth that, oh, well, look at this minority, look, they're so successful, and they try to like compare it to other minorities that aren't. And it's like, well, it's an apples to oranges comparison to compare groups that are immigrating here from another place versus people who are already here that are minority groups. Because
Right.
it's a different mentality because these people are already here. The only way to compare it is we would have to compare those people to people who are already over there and see the difference. So, that's why I say, because they do the same thing with, people from Latin America, Mexicans, they're hardworking and this too. But it's like, but you're getting the ones who actually have the drive to actually
Right.
go to
Right.
another country by whatever means necessary and actually make something of themselves and, be productive. Right. So like you did that,
Right.
obviously. But I'm sure there's people from your country who aren't like that, who are still there doing what they were doing before.
Right.
You
Yeah, but
know?
it's also like your environment also, right? Like
Right.
your environment can have an effect on it. Like for example, if you have to go, like let's say 5 miles to go get water, fresh water, to drink or to shower with, that will change your perspective when you're in a country where you could just walk in the room and take a shower. You get what I mean? Or walk in a room and get access to drinking water.
I
So
mean, I would say that
the
I would say, yeah, I think that's true too. But I think at the end of the day, it's going to be about your mentality, your personality, are you a hustler or not? Because I know plenty of people that did immigrate from other countries like that to the United States,
mm.
and they still ain't doing shit. They came here to be on welfare. They came here to be on food stamps. And it's like, why would you come from a whole other country to be here on welfare? I don't understand that. That's bizarre to
Yeah,
me.
yeah,
But I know plenty of people in
yeah,
New York
that's messed
City
up.
that are doing that. So I'm like, okay, right? So that's what I'm saying. At the end of the day, I think it's your mentality as an individual. Certain people just have that hustle mentality and certain people don't. And the people who don't are not going to be successful in a capitalistic society where it's
Right.
all, it's pretty much dog eat dog, step on whoever you have to get up ahead. Because that's pretty much what it is in this country.
And the biggest
Right.
the biggest recipients of welfare are white people, who are given
Right.
everything and sit on it and take advantage of the system more than any, an immigrant that comes here and doesn't have that kind of aid, uh, you know, could take advantage of it, but it's also like restabilizing them and getting ready. I mean, they can get comfortable in that too, right? Because now it's better than anything that they had beforehand, right? Um, but again, I hate how people punch down on that opportunity. It's like, what are you going to do with that opportunity? Are you going to
Yeah,
seize it,
man.
or are you gonna stay comfortable?
You gotta fucking squeeze it, man. You have to, man. For real.
Yeah, if you
You
decide
got
to live in
to.
the United States, unfortunately, you have to because that's the society we live in. I mean, for
Yeah.
better or for worse, it's kind of like back in the old days when they used to have runs on banks. This was before the Federal Reserve, so you would have your money in a bank, and they would have these things called runs on banks where people would think the bank was going to fail. So you would have lines out the door, people trying to hurt and withdraw their money because if the bank failed, you would lose anything you had in the bank.
Oh wow, I
But
never
this was,
heard of that before.
yeah, it's called a run. They stopped happening after like the 1930s. But basically, whether somebody would start a rumor that, oh, that bank is about to fail, everybody go withdraw their money, so people were rush, and the bank actually wasn't going to fail. But the problem is that since that rumor was started, you had an incentive to go and take out your money anyway, because if you didn't do it quickly, you wouldn't have any money. Because remember, the bank, they don't actually keep the amount of money that they have on
Yeah,
file, right? They only keep like, I think they're
yeah,
trying to keep like half of what they have on record that they have, because they loan out the rest of it. So your money
right.
could theoretically disappear back in those days. So my point with that is to say that whether or not you like it or not, or whether or not it's true or not, it doesn't matter. If this is how the system is set up, you kind of have to just go along with it if you're going to live here, because otherwise you're not going to be successful. People will walk all
Yeah.
over you. People don't care. You
It's
get what I
the
mean?
the people I'm pissed off about, Jay, is about them thinking that their American tax dollars is going to help these people, and not ever take
Correct.
accountability about the people that have been using the system, or where our tax dollars go. If it's
Yeah.
not
Right.
Ukraine, Israel, Argentina,
Exactly. I was
Right.
gonna bring that up
you
too,
feel
man.
me?
Yeah.
Imperialistic pursuits. Right. Exactly. So that's why. Right. But that's
And
why. And
and
that's
money
all.
and
And
money
that's
laundering
yeah.
too.
Yeah, that's all to protect though the corporations. That's not to protect the citizen. Even
Mm-hmm.
I remember in like I don't know if you guys out most of us are old enough to remember the crash of 2008. And it was interesting because they were able to bail out the banks, but they can't bail out people. So the people who
Mm.
couldn't afford their mortgages, they got laid off. They didn't get bailed out. They didn't say, "Oh, okay, we're just going to forgive your mortgages or pay it off." No, but they bailed out the banks. They gave them money to so they wouldn't go out into receivership.
Yeah, I
So
remember that.
that's how the system is set up, because it's set up to favor and to prop up corporations. It's called corporate subsidies. That's what it is. That's why when people talk about the free market, it's all bullshit, because it's not a free market. It never was a free market. You have the government subsidizing corporations.
Mm.
But for the government subsidizing them, many of them wouldn't even exist, because the infrastructure, the capital needed to construct most of the infrastructure, they would never have in the beginning, so they would never be able to do it without government support. That's why the government gives people, they give these corporations incentives in the form of tax breaks or whatnot to do this, because then the corporations promise, oh yes, we're going to give people jobs and all this other stuff, and then they don't even do that. So it's all, that's what I'm saying. In this system, you have to be aware of that to be successful, because that's just the way it is.
Right, right. Yeah, man. I just wish that the FBA would just get off on on African or immigrants butts, man, because I mean, like you said, Jay, there's a lot of some immigrants that come here and that are lazy, and that they take advantage of the welfare system. But there's some people that genuinely come here and understand the difference between you know where they lived at before and now, because there's plenty of opportunities here, that will help shape your future, in a good way. And I have some African American friends, that I speak to, and yeah, they realize that, hey man, you got to go out there and grind, man. You have to go out there and work hard. You can't just sit down and complain all day. You can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah, it's populist rhetoric where they basically try to say, that's basically the MAGA is a populist movement. So what they're doing is they're using the populist rhetoric to say, hey, the reason that we have all these, your life sucks right now. We have all these economic issues is because of the influx of immigrants, illegal immigrants to be exact.
Yeah,
Therefore, in order
yeah.
to get your life, to get you to be, you're an American, you should be working at these jobs, you should be doing whatever, whatever, whatever. So, in order to get this, we have to get rid of these immigrants. But that's just a rhetoric to get into office. You know what I mean? Like when they get into
Hmm.
office, they don't really do that, because think about Trump. His whole message getting in office was a populist rhetoric. Oh, what did he say? He said that, if you vote Democrat, if you vote for Biden and then later Kamala, then they're going to continue to fund foreign wars, which are draining our coffers of tax dollars that could be going to help Americans. So this is why you should vote for me.
Yeah.
That's a populist standpoint. But then as soon as he gets in office, what does he do? He aids the Israel in a war with Iran.
Exactly. Does the opposite.
So that's the
Yep.
opposite of what you're saying. And now he's talking about, I shouldn't say that word, but WAR on Venezuela. So it's like, okay, what does this have to do with the American people? These foreign words. You see what I mean? So no, you're doing exactly what the neocons were doing before you. That means you just use that rhetoric to get in office, and then you're continuing the same policies that both sides, Democrats and Republicans, have been doing, for a long time. So it's like, you see what I mean? Like they're not doing, what are they actually doing to benefit the American people by sending money over to these places?
Exactly.
Right? So populism is all nonsense. It's just a way to get in office. They don't actually ever deliver on what they say they're going to do.
Exactly. When I was on the FBA channel, I asked them the same question. I said, have you guys asked the government why they're funding or giving out aids to other countries? It's like we should be petitioning for the immediate stop of government funding of outside or internationally. So you can help the interior people, the people that are inside of the United States. But they don't care about that. They care about getting online and spewing hate against immigrants.
The way I
And
see it, Peace, it's
yeah.
exactly the same way that they made the white American feel better than the black American, in the sense that it didn't matter if they were richer than you; you were still better than them because you were white tea. So this is the
Right.
same rhetoric that we see with black Americans thinking that, oh, we're black American, we're better than you foreigners, you immigrants, because we're American, That's the same that's the same kind of logic that I see happening, to that their nationality now, they can punch down on other people that are not from here. They can punch down on people that are born here, and we're tethered to our immigrant parents on top of that.
Oh yeah, I heard that too. I heard that.
And then when I asked them, okay, well, why and again, this is only online. We're not talking about people outside of online because it doesn't exist outside of online. But online, I asked them, okay, well, why is there this smoke for Black American, for Africans, the FBA people, and they say, oh, well, because, they're, you see the guy who was just on here, he claims, oh, because they say we don't have a culture in this. And then other ones say, oh, because they're hindrance to reparations. And they have all these things, but then none of these things could be substantiated, number one. Number two, because the reality is that I keep telling them, if your goal is reparations, then Africans have no power over that. That is the YT government power. The Africans, they could have all the vitriol they want for Black Americans and say, yes, Black Americans don't have a culture, they don't have this, that, whatever. But at the end of the day, as far as the reparations argument is concerned, that has nothing to do with Africans. That's YT people who has to give you the reparations. So I don't know why but that's why I say FBA, the people because first of all, it's not really it's not an organization. People who identify, it's just a kind of a loose moniker. Depending on who you're talking to, you get different reasons for why they choose to self-identify as FBA.
Right.
As you see with the guy we just on here, he's talking about, because the rhetoric against Africans are saying it's Black Americans. I'm like, okay, but even if every African on this platform was saying negative things about Black Americans, what does that have to do with you identifying as FBA? Does that mean therefore I identify as FBA? How does that suddenly change your identity? Oh, so now we've got to delineate because Africans are saying bad things about us. Or like he was talking about earlier with Trouble, who's Somali. Oh, well, your Somalis are saying this, and that. I said, okay, but what does that have to do with you being FBA? I don't understand. How does that translate to you being FBA? So you telling me your identity is contingent upon what the Somalis said about you? That's kind of weird because they're not doing the same thing. They're not changing their identity based on what Black Americans are saying about them. Right. So it's like, what are you even saying, bro? Like, what is this? You see what I mean? Like, it's very nebulous, the whole concept. I don't even think because I really don't think they really know what they're talking about.
The whole concept is all messed up. Yeah. The whole that's what I'm running into nowadays, man. When I get on their platform, it's like someone would just say this thing, and then you go on the next platform, the next person is saying this thing. It's like there's no structure. I'm like, okay, who formulated this? Who formulated this group? Then I found out it's Tariq Nasheed, and I was like, okay, let me do a little bit of research on Tariq Nasheed. I started finding out, okay, well, he started the movement in 5 years ago. So he started the movement like 5 years ago, and his talking points is like really doesn't make any sense to some of the stuff that some of these people say. You know, so I mean, I left it alone because I'm like, you know what? All I care about now is like when I go on there, when they start talking about immigrants, I go on there to like give them pushback a little bit, you know. And sometimes I'll let them know about the benefits of getting to know an African to start building a relationship where maybe in the future you can maybe have an opportunity to invest back home on real estate, something, you know?
Yeah, Trouble, earlier when I was talking to you when that other guy was on here, he was talking about, you know, you were talking about the whole black thing versus being Somali. What I was trying to say is that I think me and you talked about this before. If you know, as far as your street race, you know, if you present as phenotypically black from the street race side, nobody would ask you if you're black. Now if somebody is asking you if you're black, even though you phenotypically present as that, then they're clearly using black in some other sense other than race.
Right.
And it seems like people want to like pretend that's not the case. So it's
Right.
like, right? So if you say I'm Somali, it's like, well, because why would you ask me if I'm black if you were talking about? And they say, well, why would you ask me that, right? Unless you weren't talking about racial, right? It's
Right,
just so
exactly.
like,
That's what I was
yeah,
saying to him. But
yeah,
go on.
it's like it doesn't. It's like these people. It's like they don't seem to understand that nuance. They would say, oh, well, you know, that's when it goes back to this whole tether thing, and oh, Africans are trying to pretend they're Black American, and I'm like, well, what do you mean? I've never heard an African actually try to pretend that they're, you know, American in some type of cultural sense. They always, if they know if you ask them if they're black, they can clearly mean you're not talking about what's self-evident physically. They're
Yeah.
going to tell you what country they or their parents come from. So what are you talking about?
Yeah, and I also didn't understand the complaint that he had in there. He had a couple, but the one where he was like, well, you don't even like me saying I'm Somali automatically means that I'm saying that I'm not black. When it's, first of all, in my mind, it's two different things, right? Being black and being Somali is like one's, when it's, first of all, in my mind, it's two different things, right? Being black and being Somali is like one's race, and so a bigger group of turn around and use that and to say, you know, well, you're a tether, and that's why we're FBAs. It just is confusing. Are you upset because I call myself Somali, and that's why you're like delineating? Like, but that wasn't even the initial conversation. We were just talking about the tropes, right? That are being said, and like who's predominantly saying it. You know what I mean? Yeah, I growing up, I had like a group of friends, a group of girlfriends, and um they were all like just a group of like black girls, but I was constantly like othered. And I wouldn't say it was just them. It was other people too. In school, outside. And I wouldn't say it's just like black people, other people do it too, and in different ways. But when you just say your ethnicity, nobody can say anything to that, you know? So, right. So, yeah. 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 Yeah, and I'm also like aware of who I'm talking to, right? So like if it's like white people, I'll say black because in my mind it's always been like a united front, right? Like we're all like people of Africa and we're like a united front. Now I never like consider myself like holding on to like tethering, you know? Um and if it's like a person who's like from Africa, like we're obviously both African. Why would I say I'm from Africa? You know, I would say I'm Somali and they would say wherever they're from in Africa, you know? So yeah, it's like a lot of But he threw a lot of things. He threw the whole kitchen sink to take away from the initial point. The majority of the people saying these things right now are the FBAs on TikTok. Yeah. 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 Yeah, but I don't even know like if they understand what they're saying because he also said, I'm not gonna sit here and listen to you insult my lineage. And in my head I was thinking like if someone insulted my lineage, I would take that as somebody insulting my grandfathers, you know? I would really be upset. But like I'm talking about people that are all here right now. Like it's not a lineage. It's a literally a community. Yeah, like what? Y'all don't have the same grandfathers. Like what are you talking about? Yeah. I I had to come back because that's a big deal. Like if you insult like somebody's like sub tribe, that's literally their lineage where I'm from. Like that's a parent insult. You don't do that, you know? And so when I came back and I had to correct him, I'm talking about people online. Don't say I'm talking about your lineage. I would never insult your grandpa. I would never insult your mom. I would never insult your dad. Yeah, right. Yeah, I said nothing about your ancestors. Like that's because he got up here and he started going crazy for the group of FBAs online, calling us being really combative and calling us like saying they were crying, it was a therapy session and all that stuff. He wanted us to meet him at the same place, but I know Somalis. I know Somalis are ruthless. Like if you say something, I know they're gonna say the things that he's saying. I'm not gonna sit up here in front of